Good evening, Yorktown, and welcome to the Town Board meeting for October 19th, 2021. If you could please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And if we could please bow our heads in a moment of silence as we remember a great patriot, a great leader, a great American, General Colin Powell, who passed away. And if we can keep him and his family in our thoughts and prayers, we thank him for his service to our country. We thank him for his leadership. Thank you.
Amen.
Okay, good evening. Let's do introductions quickly. Supervisor Matt Slater. I'll introduce people as I see them on my screen. We have Councilman Vishnu Patel, Councilman Ed Lachterman. We have Councilwoman Alice Roker, Councilman Tom Diana. We have our Town Clerk, Diana Quast, and our Town Attorney, Adam Rodriguez. Just a couple of, we have a pretty brief report today, just a couple of things to go over. Next week, we'll be releasing our first draft of the budget for 2022. We plan on doing that, if all goes to plan, Monday the 25th. And I want to thank our finance department and our comptroller for working diligently on that. I want to thank our water department. I had a really great experience with our water department and their customer service capabilities. We had some individuals on the north side of town who came to us with concerns over their water bill. And I got to say, I was so impressed with the amount of information that our water department was able to provide, actually going hour by hour on usage to see where there may be a problem in that individual's water use. And so I really want to thank Kenny Rundle and of course James Waterhouse for their great work and diligence. I also want to let people know that we did receive bids for the water relining project here in the town of Yorktown for our water pipes. There is a resolution that is on for the agenda later tonight that will allow us to hopefully submit a grant to obtain up to 60% of the funding for this important project. The water relining project is something that I think the whole board recognizes is a significant priority. And I know that our water superintendent has done a couple of presentations on this, but essentially you've got your water pipe, which should be like this, but for lots of reasons, it's really like this. And so that really, and I'm sure Councilman Diana can do a better job explaining it than I can, but that really impacts the water flow and water pressure in certain parts of town, and something that we want to make sure we get back on an annual maintenance schedule on. Just a couple of reminders. On this Friday, October 22nd, the mobile shredder is going to be back here in Yorktown over at Shrub Oak Park between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Also, this Friday is opening night for the Halloween Cabaret over at the Yorktown stage. The stage is back. Theater is back in Yorktown. And so if you're looking for something fun to do on Friday night, please, and it's all weekend, please come down to the Yorktown stage. We're actually going to be joined on Friday, I believe, by Senator Pete Harcum, our state senator, who's been a great partner for the town of Yorktown. And he's, I hope, is going to be announcing a grant that he's obtained to help us replace the seats over at the theater in the Yorktown stage. Those are actually original seats too that people sit on when they're there. So it's about time that we spruce it up and replace it. Yeah. And with the support of the board and the creation of our Arts and Culture Committee, this is a really I think great step in a positive direction for the revival of the Yorktown stage. I want to also thank the friends of the John C. Hart Memorial Library. They held their annual book sale was back this past weekend. They didn't have it last year, but they came back this past weekend. And our head librarian, Yvonne Check, who's done a phenomenal job, reported that every single book was sold. And I'm pretty sure my kids took half of them. But in all seriousness, it was a great event. And I think that the community came out to show their support for this wonderful asset, the John C. Hart Memorial Library. And I just want to thank the friends of the library for putting this great event back on. Let's see. United for the Troops. We've talked a lot about United for the Troops, a great organization. They have actually, they put care packages together and they ship them overseas to men and women serving in the military. They've actually now are over 25,000 care packages that they've sent. Just a great organization. We are going to be, now that town hall once again is open, we're going to be another drop-off location up in the supervisor's office for people who want to donate goods. You can find the list right on the town's website. It's in the supervisor's website. There's a tab there for United for the Troops, so you can see some of the goods that they need, but mostly toiletries, dry foods, and there's a whole list. And again, you can bring them up to the supervisor's office. We've got the red bin that'll be ready, and we want to thank, of course, Jim and Patty Rathschmidt, who were the founders of United for the Troops, for providing this great service to our men and women in the military. Another thing that Councilman Diana could probably speak better about than I can, but the Yorktown home heating oil plan. I just wanted to remind everybody, because the cost of oil, we know, whether it's at the pump or to heat your home, it's going up, and it's going up considerably. But Yorktown, the town of Yorktown does provide the Yorktown home heating oil plan. That again can be found on our website, or you can call my office, 914-962-5722, extension 201. You can speak to my assistant, Jenna Belcastro, and she can direct you to the Yorktown home heating oil plan and provide you a list of participating oil companies. And I think, as Councilman Diana can attest to, the price of oil to heat our homes this winter is going to be going up considerably. The other thing that's available for low-income residents is HEAP. That's another state program that we can also direct you to and provide information on. But it's important that we have our residents start thinking about this now, because while it's starting to get cooler, it's nice and comfortable, it's good sleeping weather. But unfortunately, as our highway superintendent, Dave Paganelli, can attest to, the winter's coming. And so we want to make sure that everyone's prepared.
Yeah.
Let's see. Halloween events. It's a great time of year to be in Yorktown. We've got some wonderful Halloween events. I want to remind everybody about the Halloween crawl that's going on with the Yorktown Lions Club. So if you're decorating your house and you're getting into the spooky Halloween spirit, and you want to show off your house, you can actually submit right on the town's website your address and some pictures. And the Yorktown Lions Club is going around to judge this year's participants. Our drive-in movie was postponed. It was supposed to be this past weekend, but it was postponed due to the rain. And it is now this Thursday, October 21st, over at the Jefferson Valley Mall, showing what's the movie they're showing? I completely forgot.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare on Christmas.
The Nightmare Before
Nightmare
Christmas.
Before Christmas. Thank you very much. The Nightmare Before Christmas. Let's see.
The Elm Street one might not be appropriate.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Not for the children. Next Friday, October 29th, is the trunk or treat at the Jefferson Valley Mall. That's in partnership with the Yorktown Chamber of Commerce. And the mall is also continuing their wonderful beer garden series with Boo and Brew on Friday night as well. So that's going to be a fun day to go hang out. And then, of course, a great Yorktown tradition, the Halloween parade is going to be Saturday, October 30th. We can meet over in front of Rexall, across the street from the Yorktown Fire Department.
That's great for kids.
Yep, kids and parents. Come on, let's see those costumes. We'll have a nice little parade right down Commerce Street over to Veterans Field, where there will be some activities set up for the kids, COVID-safe activities. The Lions Club's taking some great measures to make sure that it's a safe environment for everybody. And those are some of the great Halloween events. But that's not it, because this weekend is Fall Farm Weekend again, second annual. If you haven't checked out the great agricultural assets that we have here in the town of Yorktown, this is the weekend to do it. We've got some of the best in the region, if not the state. We've got 8 participating farms. We've got great events planned, starting at Hilltop Hanover on Saturday with their brews and barbecue. You do need to purchase a ticket in order to get in. You can do that online on their website. Also on Saturday, over at Fable Farm down on the south side of town, right off of 134. You can go paint pumpkins. Bring your kids down between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. They're going to have a pumpkin painting activity there. And, of course, you can always feed the goats and the chickens that they have there right on site. And then Sunday, our good friends over at Wilkins Fruit Farm. If you can go over to Wilkins Fruit Farm, they're going to be giving out free slices of their famous pie. And so feel free to stop by local farm. Those are just some of the activities going on, but so many great assets here in the town of Yorktown that are participating. Please hop on our website, and it's going to be a great weekend. Go enjoy some of the farms, get outside, go apple picking. You can check out Thompson's Cider Mill. You can go to White Oak Farm. I know that Bryhart is stocking up, expecting a good weekend with some great maple syrup and honey right here from the Hudson Valley. So I hope everyone goes out and enjoys and supports our local farms. And that ends my report. I'm going to turn it over again, just in order that I see, Councilman Vishnu Patel.
All right. Let me tell you, Mr. Supervisor, you advertise it and everything else, but whatever reason, nobody was there at 103rd birthday, and I knew everybody in there had a good time. I just happened to go there, and I couldn't find the parking, so I was 5 minutes late. So I thought maybe nobody's coming, and I just happened to go there. So once again, happy birthday to 103 years young.
Oh, they canceled
We're
it.
gonna have another meeting or something next week or something.
Yeah, Thursday actually. They're gonna actually do another thing on Thursday.
Of the nurses, or the health provider, they were all Yorktown High Schools. So it was really wonderful to see them in their white coats. I thought they were the doctor, but even more near doctor. Wonderful event. It was a beautiful time, and she was dancing with my flag, and I have a picture, and it was really everybody made her happy, really. Everybody. And then a piano man, wonderful thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
Now, one more thing I would just like to say, the people, if the winter coming, then make sure that you call yours, have somebody clean up your chimney, the fireplace and like that. Because, sometimes you never know what's inside the chimney, sometimes the people, have some leaves, the bird nest and whatnot. And so that is really a safety issue. And happy fall, be well, be safe, because pretty soon it's going to be daylight coming in and schools are on. So everybody safe and have a nice evening and a whole Halloween holidays. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Patel. Councilman Diana?
Thank you, Supervisor. Just on what the supervisor had spoke about, I want everybody to watch that looking from the stage out, that third row, second seat from the left. It's got a bad spring there. But anyway, just kidding.
It's hilarious.
The 1013 awards we had up at Granite Knolls were absolutely wonderful. I hope that more people next year will be able to attend. And as you know, 1013 is police speak for officer needs assistance. So it doesn't have to be 1013 to have a blue light on your front porch or on your front light and leave it lit for the whole year long. It just shows support for our guys in blue. And that goes right down the line for everybody. But the 1013 is basically sanctioned just for officer needs assistance. But the awards presentation that the police department did was second to none. It was moving. It was great to see all the guys and gals from the department, and even our canines were there to receive awards along with their handlers. So that was really good. I want to, we don't often reach out and thank our counterparts on the board, but with regard to the Sons of the American Legion, I got to give Ed our big hand here. Ed, I got to thank you for what you do for that breakfast that's there on every third Sunday of the month. It has raised a lot of money for the Post, which is awesome. I think the people love it. Ed always comes up with a different pancake for the time of the season. This past weekend was the pumpkin pancake, which was great. And then we do the St. Patty's Day one. That isn't a corned beef and cabbage. Well, I think we did do that one year, but it's not a corned beef and cabbage pancake. I don't know how that would go over.
No,
but
we switch it to the corned beef and cabbage lunch for that.
That's right.
So we don't have to do green pancakes.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do that, but anyway.
Come on, green eggs and ham. Come on.
But Ed, you do a great job there, and
Thank you,
myself, and I'm sure the guys from the Post all appreciate it. So, anybody can come to that, please. It's the best breakfast in town for the price and the camaraderie that you'll see there, and come in and meet some vets and have a good time for an hour. Bring the kids. Matt was there over the weekend with his 2 kids and his wife, and more and more young people are coming. We have even a few young girls that come and help serve the food, that just come with their parents and decide to chip in and help. So, it's kind of a community thing. It's really, really panned out for us. And I really think it's a great thing. And I'm sure Ed's going to fill you in on the breakfast to come. And lastly, I know it's a couple weeks early, but I just want to talk about Halloween safety for everybody out there. It can't come early enough, because the costume buying has either been done or is going to be done very shortly for the kiddos. Make sure you get the fire retardant clothing costumes, along with bright colored and or reflective costumes. Walk in a group. It'd be nice to have a parent present for the younger kiddos. I know the older ones can't wait to get rid of their folks. But so just to let's have a good time. If you're going out door to door, you're not just going to the trunk or treat, but if you're doing the development thing or whatever the case might be, stay in a group. Flashlights, bright colored, fire retardant clothing is the best. Okay, that's all I got.
Thank you, Councilman Diana. Appreciate it. And then I want to thank you again for the idea of the 1013 ceremony. That was it really was fantastic. Residents who didn't see it, it was streamed live on our town's Facebook page, but it is also on the town's website, the police department's website, and playing on the Yorktown Government Access channel, which is channel 20 if you are an Optimum customer, or 33 if you are a FiOS customer. So, Councilman Diana, thank you very much for your leadership on that.
On that, I can't take full credit for that. I actually plagiarized it. Okay, in full disclosure, a counterpart up in the town of East Fishkill actually started it, and I wrote him an email and said, "Would you mind?" He says, "Go for it." He says, "The more the merrier," and that's what I say about the blue lights on your front porch light. The more the merrier, folks. Keep them going.
Great, thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Roker.
Yeah, thanks, Matthew. I was going to talk about the ceremony, but what I want people to do is even if they didn't come, please watch it. And people tend to think, well, they're just in Yorktown, so they don't face a lot of issues.
Right.
Watch the ceremony,
right,
and you'll see some of the issues they have faced. And I think what I liked most about that ceremony was that we paid respects to their family.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think very often a family of an officer who has to leave when he has to leave, whether it's a birthday party or whatever, very often they're overlooked or not thought about. And I liked it that the chief made an effort, made a point to bring up the family as well as the police officers. So I was very appreciative of that, and appreciative, obviously, of our police officers.
It really was. I agree with you. It was a great ceremony. And to your point, some of the stories that we heard, whoa! I mean, the dangerous situations that our officers face, you don't really think of until you hear about it. And
Right.
well deserved recognition from the chief to a lot of those officers. And I think the other thing that one of my takeaways was the passion and the pride that they take in their job in protecting this community. It's undeniable. It is just simply undeniable, and they do a great job. So I couldn't agree with you more, Councilwoman. Councilman Lachterman, report to the town.
Sure. Well, I was very saddened to not be able to make it this year to the 1013 I planned on, and something came up that I had to deal with. But I would like to share a letter that was just shared with us as a town board, especially because it came from a friend of mine, which I didn't realize. We hadn't spoken in a while, but unfortunately, I believe it was around probably last week, a friend of ours her brother-in-law passed away,
Mm.
and his wife couldn't wake him, called the family, and then called 911. Said the police were there almost instantaneously. And the thing is that even though their job per se was done, the family didn't feel comfortable going back into the house until the coroner's was done, and our two police officers that were on the call, Officer Hull and Officer David, spent the time with the family, and as Debbie put it to me, she's like, you know what? Because I spoke to her afterwards, she's like, it felt like they were friends, not police officers doing their job. So the compassion, the care, and what they did was fantastic. So I just thank you, Yorktown PD, especially Danny and Michael. Great job on that.
Yep.
Oops. Sorry about that. I also wanted to, we spoke about losing a national hero. We also last week lost a local hero who served in our military during Korea, Gilbert Kaufman, and I'd like you to please keep Ann and his children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren in your thoughts and prayers. Gil was just a true testament to the town of Yorktown. He did a lot of volunteer work, most notably working with AARP and running the AARP club and helping seniors navigate some of the issues that they faced. He was an outspoken advocate for senior rights and for veteran rights as well. I know Kim Penner had expressed how when she first started, he was such an advocate for the veterans exemptions and helping our vets and making sure that they were recognized in our community. And Gil, losing Gil was a great loss, and we loved him dearly, and we'll definitely miss him. Tommy mentioned the breakfast, and this coming month, we will not be doing the breakfast on the third Sunday of the month like we normally do. We will shift it to the second Sunday of the month, which is the 14th. It'll be 9 to 11. It'll be the day that we celebrate our Veterans Day Parade later that afternoon in Shrub Oak, running from the Lakeland Library to the the Lakeland High School to the John C. Hart Memorial Library. That parade starts at 2 o'clock, but from 9 to 11, the Sons will do their fundraising breakfast, but it will be a free breakfast for any veteran. So we invite our veterans to come and join us. The other people that come, it's a $10 donation, and that has pancakes, eggs, corned beef hash, potatoes, quite a bit of bacon, sausage, juice, coffee, you name it, it's out there. So it's a really, really good breakfast, best breakfast in town for its money. We also this past breakfast, and we're starting to see a little more, as Tom mentioned, we had some volunteers through our youth. Two of the girls were family members, but we also had one young man who's was doing some community service work for his school. So if anyone's interested in that, you can reach out. You can find my information on the website, the Yorktown website. Reach out to me for opportunities to volunteer with the breakfast. Since we're talking about our teens, the teen center had reopened, but for the next couple of Fridays will be closed just due to the gymnasium not being available. I believe that it's used for early voting, so there'll be machines down there and it'll be secured. So the teen center will reopen on Friday, November 5th. Mentioning United for the Troops, one thing, Matt, I missed. I had gotten distracted by the dogs for a second, but I don't think you mentioned there's a great opportunity for our children and seniors in the community if they want to do cards for our veterans, thanking them for our troops. Excuse me. These cards, when when you see a video that Jim posts on Facebook, when the people receive the packages, it's not the treats that they love. It's these cards from our community, from people of all ages. It's just amazing. So there's a great opportunity, and those cards can be dropped off at the supervisor's office as well.
Yep.
You don't have to have anything big to say. You just say hello to them, and it's just
hello, thank you, God bless, stay safe.
Stay safe, right? Yep.
Yeah. So our goddaughter made a few where she drew some pictures this weekend. So it's just a great opportunity. Nice. And Matt spoke about all the stuff the Lions are doing for Halloween. So that covers me.
All right. Thank you, Councilman Lachterman. I appreciate it. I'm going to go over to our town clerk, Diana Quast, real quick, and then we'll go over to our highway superintendent. But I know our town clerk wanted to just talk about early voting, which starts this Saturday here in Westchester County. Diana?
So the town of Yorktown has 2 designated polling locations for early voting in Yorktown. The Albert A. Capellini Community and Cultural Center, located at 1974 Commerce Street. Please enter from the Veterans Road entrance to the back of the building. The second location is the Jefferson Village Annex at 3500 Hill Boulevard. The Saturday, October 23rd, 2021, early voting will be open from noon until 5 p.m. Sunday, October 24th, it will be noon until 5 p.m. Monday, October 25th, will be from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. Tuesday, October 26th, will be from noon until 8 p.m. Wednesday, October 27th, will be from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Thursday, October 28th, will be noon until 8 p.m. Friday, October 29th, will be 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. Saturday, October 30th, will be from noon until 5 p.m. Sunday, October 31st, will be from noon to 5 p.m. There will also be ballot boxes at each location for absentee ballots if you want to put them in there. And that's all I got.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll go over to our highway superintendent, Dave Paganelli. Dave?
Thank you, Supervisor. I'll touch base on a couple of things. We have, in the last about month and a half, had 2 traffic safety meetings. Total time was about 7 hours. So we have a tremendous amount of information, and we're going to be hopefully at the work session next week. We'll do quite a bit of a presentation, explain, the protocols involved in determining what type of solutions apply to what type of problems, and bring people up to snuff with respect to things that were discussed that they had brought up. So that's that. I'm currently working on a 2 to 3 year paving schedule for the town. It's an ambitious project. I'm hoping to be able to publish the results, weather permitting, depending how busy I get, sometime in either December or January. And at least our residents will have an idea over the next 3 years whose roads are getting done at what times. That being said, we're doing a tremendous amount of drainage right now at Highway. Currently, we're putting in 400 feet of pipe on Glen Rock and Giordano, trying to eliminate perennial icing situations. We've eliminated dozens already all over town. And as you had mentioned earlier so charmingly, winter is upon us. And we are currently, today I spent the day working on making arrangements for salt deliveries and magnesium chloride deliveries and pug mill and stacker to try and coordinate everything so that we're only paying for the days that we're using all these various participants in the salt process. So that, I believe, we're scheduled to start somewhere around November 8th. Halloween is around the corner. If you, to our residents, if you see any catch basins that have holes in them, if you see any trip hazards that might be a problem in terms of potholes, that our children, when they're out in the dark, won't be able to see, please call 962-5781 Highway and make us aware of them. So we'll do our best to get everything squared away for Halloween. We don't want any children falling in a pothole or falling in a catch basin that's deteriorating and getting hurt. So that's where our focus will be, over the next couple of weeks. So that's it for Highway, and thank you for the opportunity to share.
Thank you, Dave. We appreciate it. Keep up the good work and give our best to the workers in your department. We have a couple of proclamations for us to give out tonight. I'm going to actually turn it over to Councilman Tommy Diana to kick us off with Italian American Heritage Month. Councilman Diana, if you can unmute.
Sorry about that. I was just bringing the proclamation up. Hold on one second. And Diana, do you have Dottie LaScala in queue by chance?
I don't see her unless she's. Let me just try this one. So it says iPad.
Let me just get my email up here on this other screen. Listen to me go, huh, Matt?
Wow, 2 screens there, Councilman. I don't know.
Telling you, it's real. Yeah, but I'm on the wrong screen.
Didn't think you could handle those complex things, Tommy.
That's complex, Tommy.
All right, come on. I'm coming up with the times. Anyway, I think we got it here. There we go. Okay. Good evening, everybody. This being, as the supervisor said, Italian American Heritage Month. I'd like to read a proclamation into the minutes. Whereas Italian American Heritage Month is an appropriate time to recognize the enormous contributions that the Italian American people have made to our town, our country, and the world throughout human history. And whereas the town of Yorktown community has a proud tradition of celebrating its Italian heritage through events such as the Feast of San Gennaro and community organization such as the Circolo da Vinci. And whereas the Circolo da Vinci traditionally celebrates the Italian American heritage of members of our community each month and is dedicated to preserving and teaching about the Italian heritage. And whereas one of their most popular events has become their annual bocce ball tournament at Downing Park. Whereas other groups such as the Christopher Columbus Society of Yorktown make similar efforts to preserve and educate residents about the impact Italian Americans have had. And whereas Italian Americans have had profound impact on our community, state, and nation, making great strides in the field of medicine, art, business, education, and government. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town of Yorktown recognizes the month of October as Italian American Heritage Month, and be it resolved that the town of Yorktown recognizes and applauds the great efforts of our community organizations who preserve traditions and accomplishments of the Italians. I guess Dottie did not get on. Dottie LaScala was going to be the recipient of this for the Circolo da Vinci organization. But unfortunately, I guess she might even be having some technical difficulties. But folks, this being Italian Heritage Month, I'm a proud Italian American, and I'm sure there are a lot of others out there that are the same. There's jokes out there. I shouldn't say jokes, just sayings that go, the Irish protect it and Italians built New York City and New York. So it's a great nationality with a tremendous amount of pride, as in most of the nationalities that are out there today. A lot of pride and a lot of history. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Diana. We have a motion from Councilman Roker. I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We have 3 others that we want to recognize tonight. I'm not sure if we have people who are joining us for them, but I'll read the German American Heritage Month, and it reads as follows: whereas German American Heritage Month is an appropriate time to recognize the enormous contributions that the German American residents have made to our town, our country, and the world throughout history. And whereas German immigrants first arrived in the 1670s to New York State, and whereas German Americans are credited for establishing the first kindergartens in the United States, introduced holiday traditions such as the Christmas tree, and popular foods such as hot dogs and hamburgers. And whereas German Americans have had profound impacts in our community, state, and nation, making great strides in the fields of medicine, art, music, education, business, and government, now therefore be it resolved that the town of Yorktown recognize the month of October as German American Heritage Month.
You know, I think it's so important, Matt, for you to do these, because I think that that is what we were built on, and it's wonderful to hear. We need to share who we are more and be very proud of who we are.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't agree with you more. Actually, so
Motion.
my family, we have a motion. Second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. My heritage goes back to actually Germany on my grandmother's side. My great grandfather, her father, immigrated here from Germany, from Stuttgart, and I know that she enjoys still telling me stories and passing along some of the traditions that he brought over from Germany. So it's always great to hear. We have two others. We'll start with the Domestic Violence Awareness Month. I'm not sure if we have anybody from Hope Store. We do. Maya's here. Hey, Maya.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Hi, Maya.
Thank you so much for joining us.
No problem. My coworker Rosanna is here as well. I believe she's there she is. She's the iPad.
Hi, Rosanna. How are you? If you could, Rosanna, if you
there
could.
you go.
Perfect.
I think I got it now.
Well, it's so
Good
great
evening,
to have,
everyone.
Yeah, it's so great to have you both here and representing Hope Store. For those who may not remember, last year our police department joined Hope Store in this county domestic violence high risk team, which was a very, very important step for our community and our police department. And I welcome our friends from Hope Store to just give us an update as to some of the work that they're doing and some of the services that they provide. And then we have a proclamation that we'd love to virtually deliver to you on behalf of the town of Yorktown.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you for the invitation to come and speak with you all. You know, I've been with the agency for almost 6 years now, and a lot of the outreach work I did was along the Route 9 corridor and into Yorktown. So, you know, I've been in the Yorktown community for a little bit. Rosanna is actually our high-risk program coordinator. So the program that you just mentioned, that's the program that Rosanna oversees. So I'll definitely let her speak a little bit about that as well. But in terms of the work that we do at Hope Store, you know, of course, we provide services to survivors of domestic violence and their families, right? So our goal is to make sure that our clients are healing from that trauma of abuse and they become independent, right, from their abuser, because we all know that when domestic violence is happening, there's dependency there, right? Whether it's financially or mentally, there's fear, right? So we want our clients to be safe. Safety is the most important thing out of all of our services because leaving is the most dangerous time. So I know whenever I do presentations, I let people know if you know someone that is in a situation and they're thinking about leaving, you know, let them call us, let them receive professional help. Because a lot of the, you know, murder suicides that we've been seeing, homicides that we've been seeing are happening in domestic violence situations when a person is trying to leave that situation. So we never want things to escalate to that point. Now, in terms of the services we provide, of course, we have counseling. Our counseling is client-centered. It's trauma-informed. It's psychoeducational. So we are educating our clients on domestic violence, on the dynamics of domestic violence. We have clients that come to us that might not necessarily believe that they are in a situation, right? But we meet them where they are and we educate them on what's going on. We're never telling our clients what to do. It's giving them a choice because they're coming from a situation where they are being controlled, right? So we don't want to replace that control. That's not what it's about. So we do a lot of advocacy work, whether it's with lawyers, therapists, police departments, as we will touch base on as well. We offer counseling for adults and children. So we do have children's services. As far as the work that we're doing with Yorktown, we do have a prevention program, and I believe we've been in the Yorktown High School before where we offer our Love Shouldn't Hurt workshops. So of course, we're looking forward to getting back in there for this school year and also starting our STAR Club, which is students talking about relationships. So that's a group of students, right, that are educated on domestic violence, on teen dating abuse, and they talk to their peers because we also know that youth do not go to adults, right, when they're going through something. Okay, most of the time they are going to their friends. So we want youth to be educated in domestic violence as well, so they know the right resources. to help their friends out with. And just a little background on the high risk program, and I'll give a little background and Rosanna can talk about some of the work she does with the program. The program started in 2017. Hope Store was actually the pilot agency to start the program. So it was first called the Northern Westchester Risk Reduction Team, and we were in 5 towns in Northern Westchester. So that was 2017, right? And because the pilot program did so well, they decided let's spread this across Westchester County. So now every single police department is either trained already or being trained in this program and in this response to domestic violence across the county, which is amazing. And it's amazing, I know, for me and Rosanna to say, like, you know, it started at Hope's Door, right?
Yes.
So we have 19 jurisdictions ourselves from Hope's Door, and Yorktown is one of those jurisdictions. Yorktown was one of the first police departments to be trained, I believe, and they, you know, got on the ground running. We got all the DIRs that they can send us, and we love it. You know, we work closely with Lieutenant Slater and other police departments. So I'm going to hand it over to Rosanna. And Rosanna, you know, just you can talk about your experience and maybe some of the work you do specifically when we get those calls in.
Well, just Maya pretty much said it, my director, and everything she's just finished saying. Basically, the high risk program deals with the high risk cases coming in, and Yorktown happens to be one of them. I think the best thing in dealing with high risk cases and what we do with our program is, again, we're client centered, so we meet the client where they are. But I think the most important thing to always remember with high risk clients and domestic violence situations and incidences is that it's high risk for everyone involved. That includes the victim, that includes the family, that includes the police officers on scene, that includes the jurisdiction, the DA's office, as well as the agency involved. And I think it's very important that we all work together. And I think that that's been one of our most, effective and most efficient ways of dealing with these cases is the fact that we always remain. And I know with Yorktown, myself, with my experience with them, there's always been open lines of communication. And with all of the districts that we work with and local police precincts, we keep those lines of communication open because communication is, I think, the most important line of assistance when it comes to domestic violence incidences and DIRs. Everyone's at high risk, whoever's involved. And I think it's important that everyone is heard. And just like Maya says, we work to empower our families and our clients in these types of situations. And we collaborate. We may not always agree with the collaborations, but our goal is always the same, which is basically trying to choose the best resolution and the best way to serve our clients and to serve these populations of incidences and cases. So it's nice to see everyone here, and I'm so honored to be part of it. My director Maya was able to kind of let me know about it, and I think it's wonderful to be able to speak with all of you here. And I'm sure all of you, whether at some point have dealt with, knowing about, experienced, or knowing of a situation that has occurred with this type of domestic violence. And it stands out more to us today, mainly because we're in Domestic Violence Awareness Month for us. So I think the work that everyone does, everyone involved, our partners, law enforcement, DA's office, the Westchester Medical Center, that we work with colleagues, referrals, resources. I think everyone puts their first and foremost to make matters safe for whatever situation that we're dealing with. So thank you so much for letting us speak this evening. I'm so honored to be in front of all of you at this point.
Yes.
It's always great. It's always great to have Hope Store, a terrific partner and leader. You know, we had this 1013 police ceremony just last week. And when you hear some of the stories and some of the recognitions that our officers got, unfortunately, they were very frequently around domestic violence incidents. We know that domestic violence cases were on the rise during this terrible COVID pandemic. Your sign's right outside our door. And I couldn't agree with you more that it's about educating and empowering those who are in these terrible relationships to give them options and to give them the support and give them the access they need so that they know that they can make the right choice. And I just can't thank you enough on behalf of the community for being a great partner.
Can I just thank them? Because you know what? I have talked to women who live here in Yorktown where this is a problem. You know, our tendency is to believe that we live in this nice bucolic community and nothing bad happens. Well, it does. And just want to thank the two angels because for some women, they are angels. They're able to help them escape a really, really bad situation. And, I thank you for that. Thank you for what you do.
Yeah. Thank you for
Thank
those
you.
kind words. And, just to add on, right, that's why we started the Northern Westchester team in 2017, because the towns we were in, Pound Ridge, North Salem, Lewisboro, Somers, Bedford, right, those towns, same things. People didn't think that these types of things were going on. But when you look at, the past, I would say 10, 15 years up there, I can name off the top of my head at least 5 incidences of domestic violence that ended in homicide, right? And specifically in 2017, if you look up the Dim case, the Dim family case, that's what really spearheaded this entire program, because no one even suspected that something was going on. And it ended up that the father murdered his daughter and his wife and then took his own life. So that's really, what started this entire program. And we don't want people to feel as though there's not resources out there that, because they live in these areas that are so spread out that they can't, reach out and get the help that they need. So the high risk program is really out there to bridge that gap between law enforcement and community members, because we know there can be this divide, right? And we want to make sure that, okay, we're working closely with law enforcement. So if you get to them, you'll get to us, right? You'll have that connection with us if you decide to make that step and call the police.
Thank you.
Thank you all again. We appreciate it. We do have a brief proclamation that I'm happy to read and once again present virtually to you. We look forward to a time when we're together and you can be here in Town Hall, but it reads as follows. Whereas domestic violence is defined as violent or aggressive behavior within the home, typically involving the physical and emotional abuse of a spouse or partner, and whereas domestic violence affects millions of people in the United States, causes significant harm to their physical and mental health of survivors and their families, undermines their economic stability and overall well-being, and is a stain on the conscience of our country. And whereas Domestic Violence Awareness Month was launched in October 1987 as a way to connect and unite individuals and organizations working on domestic violence issues while raising awareness for those issues. And whereas during the National Domestic Violence Awareness and Prevention Month, the town of Yorktown honors the tremendous dedication of advocates and service providers such as Hope Store, and honors the courage and resilience of our survivors, and recommit ourselves to standing with them for safety, dignity, and justice. And whereas the town of Yorktown is proud to partner with organizations, again, such as Hope Store, to provide services to victims of domestic violence. And whereas in 2020, the town of Yorktown Police Department joined Westchester County Domestic Violence High Risk Team, which assists responding police officers refer domestic violence cases to a liaison officer and service provider. And now therefore be resolved that the town of Yorktown declares October as National Domestic Violence Awareness and Prevention Month.
Motion.
Motion. Give a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Again, thank you so much for all you do for our community, for all you do for those in need. It really goes a long way, and just know how much we all appreciate it.
Wow.
I actually had a couple of
Thank you.
questions. I was having a little internet problem, so
Sure.
my sound was in and out. Maya, do you guys have like a dinner or something, or raffles coming up, or auction? I thought I saw something about that.
Yes, we actually have an event coming up on November 4th. It is virtual, but it is our fundraising event. Usually we'll have a luncheon in October, but because, just of the times, we are having that, right? So we're still looking for auction items. Of course, we're looking for people to attend, to, buy tickets if you want. So if I can definitely send that information over.
Please.
You all have it. I'll definitely do that.
Please. Now, I may have it might be the reason I know about this is because my wife and I have a massage studio. I don't know if we donate, if someone requested anything from us.
Okay.
If you want to have someone reach out to Elements in White Plains, we'll definitely get you. Yep, Elements Massage in White Plains.
Oh, great. Okay, thank you. I'll definitely do that.
Another question. Now I know you, if I'm not mistaken, you used to take old cell phones as a donation.
Yes. As long as if they're wiped clean and, restored to, factory setting and
Now, do you still take any other supplies? So you're saving me a phone call because my wife has some children's clothing that from our goddaughter that she was like, hey, can Hope Store use this if they have people that are coming in an emergency?
Right. So, yeah. I mean, we're always looking for donations, whatever you may have. What I will have to do though is just double check with our office manager to see what we need or what we have space for. But especially for our shelter residents with children's clothes, of course, we're always looking for children's clothes. So if that's something you have, we can definitely connect and I can set that up. So
Sure. And then just for regular donations, I assume there's a way to donate on your website?
Yes. Do you mean monetary donations?
Monetary,
Right.
yeah.
Yes. Yep. Definitely.
I like to throw some softballs out there for you.
Oh, thank you. And we appreciate them all. We appreciate them all.
Thank you, Maya.
Well, thank you both again for joining us. We again appreciate all you do for our community and for those in need.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for inviting us. All right. You have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank
You
you.
too.
You too.
Bye-bye.
We have one more that we wanted to recognize, which is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Not sure if we had Kathy Quinn from Support Connections on, but she, of course, is a leading advocate in this realm through her not-for-profit, which I know we've welcomed her quite a few times leading up to their latest walk through FDR Park. I'm just going to see if we have anything from Diana Quast, our town clerk, if Kathy's going to be on.
I wasn't able to get in touch with her.
Okay, not a problem. Thank you. So we can read the following, which states as follows. Whereas Breast Cancer Awareness Month began in 1985 as a partnership between the American Cancer Society and Imperial Chemical Industries Pharmaceuticals, and breast cancer is one of the most commonly diagnosed cancers among women. Whereas breast cancer is the second most common cancer affecting women, and it's estimated that 1 in 8 women will develop breast cancer over the course of their lifetime. Whereas Breast Cancer Awareness Month remains dedicated to increasing public knowledge about the importance of early detection of breast cancer diagnosis and treatment. Whereas Yorktown is proud to be home to grassroots organizations such as Support Connection, which is celebrating and has celebrated its 25th Support Walk at FDR Park. And whereas Support Connection provides services and counseling to women facing breast cancer and ovarian cancer. And whereas during National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we are united in our commitment to ending breast cancer and improving the lives of all those affected by this illness. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the town of Yorktown declares October as Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and be it further resolved, the town of Yorktown recognizes and thanks Support Connection, Inc. and its incredible staff and leadership for their commitment to the members of the Yorktown community and beyond. A motion?
Motion, I'm sorry.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motions carry. And with that, unless there's any other comments from the town board, we can go over to our friend John McMullen, our poet laureate. John, it's good to see you.
Good evening, Matt. Would it be appropriate if I said one thing about domestic violence first after that, before I go into the poem, or not?
Quickly, yeah, please.
There was a wonderful article in the Sunday Times, Metropolitan section Sunday, about this woman who was living with a fellow. She complained to the police twice. It's a long time ago, and they blew it off because he was a prison officer. He eventually shot her 7 times. She almost died. She lost many organs. Then she became, after physical rehab and everything, she became an NYPD officer. She served for 20 years. She served undercover. It's just an amazing story that anyone could behave like that. You know, so.
Thank you for
It's
sharing.
the old days. It's very different now.
Yeah.
Thank God.
I'm tired. I'm tired of anti-vaxxers, climate change deniers, people not wearing masks. Trump is still or will be President loonies, those who called January 6th a peaceful protest, hurricanes and tropical storms, those who want to restrict voting rights of minorities. In short, I'm tired of a lot of things and people. I probably sound like an old grouch, but part of my annoyance is because one of the biggest reasons for my anger is that I had a small part in the promotion of the main tool in the development of this craziness, the internet. Almost 40 years ago, I wrote one of the first books of microcomputer communications, widely pressed 1983. I was one of the early issues of CompuServe, The Source, America Online, the first telecommunications conferences, of the first bulletin board system. I was an early user of the Well, a conferencing system that would let people all over the country share their ideas. I created some of the early mailing lists did further group communications. I was one of the very early users of Facebook when it was available only to people with a college email account. I was also a user of Twitter before it and Facebook became main homes for foreign trolls to spread misinformation. I've watched with horror as all these wonderful tools I help promote have turned into vehicles for tearing the country apart. It is scary. In the pre-internet days, if I had a wacko belief like Bill Gates is working with the CIA to put miniature chips into the vaccines, or it was Antifa that attacked the Capitol on January 6th, or collection of climate change is a hoax, I could have pontificated those beliefs at my local bar or on a street corner, like the followers of Lyndon LaRouche do in my town, telephoned a lot of people, wrote crank letters to newspapers, and maybe 15 or 25 people, 1% of the people who heard or read this nonsense would have bought my lunas. Now with Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, Instant Messenger, and skies of other tools, I'm able to get millions of people in the United States to read or to see it. And 1% of these is a lot of people. What's the answer to this very real problem? Damned if I know. I don't want government censorship. I don't want the elimination of these wonderful tools. I do want foreign trolls identified, exposed, and closed down. So I have no answer. Do you? Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, John. We're going to move to a resolution on personnel. We'll accept the retirement received from Ed Mahoney from the Sewer Department effective October 25th, 2021. I do want to say that Ed was a long time member of the Sewer Department and a long-time employee of this town. He's given a tremendous amount of his time, effort, and we are very sad to see him go, but we wish him the best in his retirement. He probably can't hear me right now because I think he's
in England.
But we do wish him and his wife and his family all the best and enjoy the next chapter in their lives. I think his mom still lives here in town. Yep. So they've got very strong roots that are still here. So I hope we're going to still see him around. But to Eddie Mahoney, a big thank you from myself and on behalf of the entire town board.
Yes.
Yeah, I told Eddie when we had to do this that I was not going to do it because when you meet him, anyone who knows him will tell you once you meet him, and he always had that smile.
Yeah.
That smile.
He's a good guy with an infectious laugh.
Yep. Yeah.
And Matt, just for the record, you can get our meetings in England because I was on one in England.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, that's right. We live stream. That's
but
right.
It is 1:30 in the morning there, so he may be in bed.
I don't think he cares. Motion.
Yes, we have Councilman Patel who wants to say something.
You can say anything about him, good or bad, but he has taught so many youth in our community.
Yes.
That anything you throw in your bathroom or sink, everything has to be processed as a wastewater treatment, and he has shown to the youth in our community. And there is a 4-year program which I had done. There is very scientific understanding of why this thing has to be done, because whatever waste you bring the water in, which need to be purified, and then pumping to your house through all the processes, and at the end up again in a sewer treatment plant, and it has to be according to the New York State and the federal regulation. It has to be processed before they discharge into the reservoir, so the recycling again becomes so.
Yeah.
Yes, really wonderful. He was a teacher, and his children were also science students, even though not in a town. We had some kind of link like that. So. Happy retirement, and if you come by in a town again, I think he's in London. Yeah, that's what he
means. Yes.
So if you want to say hi to him, collect on his cell phone. Wonderful guy. Happy retirement to you and your family.
We have a motion.
A motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
I think we do have Dottie LaScala on. Dottie, are you there?
I'm here.
Well,
Here I am.
if you can just mute your TV for me.
Oh, yeah. Willie, shut the TV, please. Oh, yeah. Willie's got the controller. You know how that goes.
The guy
Yeah,
with the
no, I get
control.
it.
Yeah,
I get
right.
it.
We got
Well,
it.
I think
It's our
Councilman,
job in life, Dottie.
Councilman Diana wanted to recognize you and your organization. He read a proclamation in recognizing October as Italian American Heritage Month. Councilman Diana, you want to present Dottie with a virtual proclamation?
Sure,
Oh,
Dottie.
this is great. Hey, Tom.
Here you go.
Oh,
Hello there.
You.
But you want me to go through the reading of it again, or
No, you don't have to.
Why don't we
Okay.
have Dottie tell us about Chircolo?
Yeah,
tell us about
right.
Chircolo.
Okay, so Chircolo's been around. I think we're going to start our 40th year. So I've been with the organization over 15 years, and it's really a terrific club. We raise monies to give scholarship to high school students, and we try to get involved in our community. And for November, when we have our regular meetings, we honor our veterans. And as a matter of fact, we have an interesting veteran coming November 1st to our meetings at Little Sorrento's, which is a very nice, typical Italian dinner meeting. We eat and then we talk, and we have a speaker. And our speaker is Frank Masantri. He was a Navy veteran working on the nuclear ships. So he's going to tell us all about the nuclear Navy and the role it played, in defending us and in everything else. So anybody interested, you're welcome to come to Little Sorrento's and join us. I'm sure it'll be very, very educational. So we're very involved. So yeah, Tom.
Dottie, can you expand? Can you also expand a little bit on the scholarship program that you run through Chircolo?
Yeah, so we raise funds through our journal, through donations, through making baskets, whatever we can do to raise money, and we put it in a special fund, and we give it to high school students, and we give $2,000 to a high school student. So every year we give between 8 and 10 scholarships. So we're very busy on the fundraising end of it, and it's very satisfying because these kids that we give it to, I keep saying, are you getting anything better? This looks like the cream of the crop this year. And every year new ones come up that really are amazing. Yeah, and they're all local students. They all go to local schools. So we're very proud of them. We're proud of our organization. And you know what? We keep learning about what the Italians have contributed. So it's endless. I have still to be fine. Yeah, it is good. Thank you, Alice. Yeah, it is good. It's always a fun meeting. And you've come to one of them. I have. You had a good time, right?
I have.
Yeah. And you too, Matt.
Yep.
And Tom is a member. And we're going to try and get everybody else to join.
Excellent.
So,
and if someone wants to join, what's the best way of doing that?
Well, they just have to contact me at my email, dorothea.lascala@gmail.com. And I'll get them a membership application out very fast.
Excellent.
You forgot the one thing, Dottie.
What?
They got to kiss Willie's ring.
Oh, that. Yeah. I was saving that.
Someone scare him away.
Dottie, are there dues involved with joining?
You don't have to join immediately. You can come to a meeting, see what we're about, enjoy it, pay for your dinner, of course. The only money we make at our meeting is the raffle money. Whatever's paid for the dinner goes right to the restaurant. So,
but to become a member.
To become a member, yes, it's $75 a year. And that money goes into our operations account. And if it ever builds up, and for a couple, it's 110. So if our operations account builds up and our money for scholarship is low, we vote and we take the money out of operations and put it into scholarship. So it all stays in the same,
right?
For the same purpose of, rewarding our students for their knowledge in their own heritage.
Great.
So,
Great
what do you
organization.
think?
Dottie, how long have you guys, how long has Chircolo been in existence?
It will be 40 years.
I don't think people realize that.
No.
40 years that you've
Do you
been
know
doing
who
this for the
you
town
know
of Yorktown.
who started it?
Who's
Was
that?
Al Capolini.
Why am
Yeah.
I not surprised?
Yeah, it was Al. Al and 7 guys started Chircolo.
Why am I not surprised?
No, he you know he just wanted to have this group, and you know what? Then word got around, and in the beginning it was just men, but then ladies found out about it. I said, wait a minute, we want some of this, so we joined, and I think Nettie Falancia was I don't know if you guys remember her, but she was the first female that joined Chircolo.
Mhm.
Do you remember her, Vishnu? No.
Councilman Patel, do you remember her? No.
No, it's from a long time ago. And
You know what I remember most about Al was bocce ball.
oh
Yeah.
yes. I think he had a court in his backyard.
He did.
Yeah.
That's why I first
Yeah.
saw it.
Yeah, and then we started to play bocce at Downing Park,
Yep.
and we were playing on the dirt with straps. And then my husband said, "Wait a minute, let's see if we can build a court." So we got a hold of the Parks Department, and they gave us permission. And Willie built the first court by himself.
Wow.
And after that, and then we started, then once it got popular, everybody wanted to be on the court. So then now we have what, 5 courts, Willie?
5, yeah.
And now we have 5 courts.
My God.
And,
That's
and it's a lot of
great.
fun. And it's
Lot
very
of
nice
fun.
when I drive down 202 and I see people playing bocce.
Yep.
It's a fun game. You got to try it, Alice. It's
I
really-
have. I tried it at Al's house.
oh, see that?
That's great.
Yeah, it's a fun. It's just a little sharing of our heritage. That's,
Mm-hmm.
I think, great for everybody.
I did too.
Well, we appreciate all the efforts and the long history of Chircolo, going
Yeah.
back 40 years to the
I mean, is
to
that
the late
something?
great Al Capolini. That's
Right,
fantastic.
right.
Yep.
Yeah. So we do what we can, you know, for the young Italians. We do, you know, we're involved with the schools. We want to get all these students. Oh, Willie's pointing to the screen that I should see myself on the TV set. I'm looking at you on my little computer, my little laptop.
Dorothy, I think it's real important that we preserve our heritage and
Yeah.
pass it on
Yeah.
and share it with people.
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do, and it's working. And I do it with my kids and my grandkids.
Mhm.
When I took my kids to Italy the first time, they were hooked. They loved it. Then I took some grandkids, and the ironic thing is, one of my grandsons, he went to the hometown where my grandparents came from, and he said, "Look, I'm only going for a little bit. I'm not staying. I'm not doing anything." So, P.S. He went. He stayed for 4 days. And he met cousins that he still
wow.
to this day are very good friends with. So it's very nice. You know, it's very nice. We have to, that's our job, to share our heritage and
Yep.
to educate our kids into what the
Absolutely.
Italians have contributed. So,
Absolutely.
thank you
do
for
a
that,
great
Alice.
job.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Yorktown, great town board. I love watching you guys. You do a good job.
Hopefully our
You're-
ratings are up.
Oh, of course they're up.
The best
Who would
reality
watch
show in
anything
Yorktown.
else?
Yeah, this is better than, you know, Naked and Afraid. You know, I mean, it's
I like that
The
too.
fact that you even know about
I'm
that
not
show,
even
Tom,
going to
I don't
ask you
know,
about
man.
that
Been
one.
afraid.
That's
The
funny.
fact that you even know about that show.
no.
man.
I only
Wow.
saw the advertisements.
Yeah, okay.
Liar.
Oh,
Now
my
you're
God, that's
lying.
funny.
Now you're straight up lying.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Well, thank you, Dottie. We appreciate you jumping on with us, and we appreciate again all the work that you do through Chircolo,
Wow.
all you do for our community. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you guys. All the Chircolo members are going to be so happy to know we got a nice proclamation from you guys.
Thank you,
Tommy will
Beth.
bring you with a real
Thank you.
proclamation at your
Yes.
next meeting. No problem.
Okay,
definitely will.
sounds great. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Dottie.
Kiss to
Appreciate
all
it.
of you.
Thanks, Dottie.
Good night.
Bye, good night.
See
Good
you
I'm going
night
to
to
continue
Belle.
watching.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to move on to courtesy of the floor. As a reminder, we're going to have a 3-minute time for courtesy of the floor. We're going to turn over to our town clerk, Diana Quast. I do also, as always, want to remind all of our residents, you don't have to wait until courtesy of the floor to bring an issue to the town board. You can always contact us here at Town Hall, 914-962-5722. Extension 200 is my direct line. You can always email me at mslater@yorktownny.org. And if we don't know the answer, we will find the answer. And so with that, I'll turn it over to our town clerk, Diana Quast, to let us know who we're going to be hearing from tonight.
Our first speaker is Susan Siegel.
Good evening, Ms. Siegel.
Good evening, Susan.
Yeah.
You hear us?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
We got you.
Yes,
Go ahead,
yes,
please.
Okay. Sorry. Well, Donnie LaScala is a very hard act to follow, but
She's true.
but I will try on typically more serious topics. Okay. I have questions about two Freedom of Information requests or FOILs that have been denied, and whether the town is actually being transparent with its residents. Now, I know that members of the town board don't make decisions about FOIL requests, but you do set general policy for the town. So my question to you tonight is, will you be transparent and act to make the documents that I'm requesting available? The first denial deals with a request for copies of the agreements you authorize the supervisor to sign. The agreements are with the town's environmental consultant relating to 2 solar projects. But when I foiled for copies of the agreements, I was told that no such documents existed. Really? If they don't exist, then what did you vote for? Or did you vote for agreements you hadn't seen? Which begs the question, did you know what you were voting for? My second FOIL denial, actually a third denial because my appeal was denied, was a request to see the bids that had been submitted for a smart water meter project. If you proceed to vote to award a bid, 10,000 water district taxpayers could be locked into paying about $600,000 a year for 20 years for something that isn't needed. As I said at the last courtesy, I commend you for proceeding with the smart meter project. It's a no-brainer. My issue is the lack of transparency about how you're going about it. As taxpayers, we have a right to know how you're planning to spend our tax dollars and before you vote to award the bid. At the previous courtesy, I said you had discussed the metering project at only one open board meeting. Supervisor Slater corrected me and said there had been 2 meetings. So I did my homework and watched the video of that other meeting. And this is what I learned. 2 vendors presented 2 very different smart metering options. The first vendor, the one who installed and maintains the existing half-completed system, advised the board what it would take to complete the system. 9 months later, a second vendor, one represented by a former Republican county legislator, advised you to toss out the existing system and replace it with a totally new system. His seductive sales pitch was that his company would pay to install and maintain the new system, and all the town had to do was to pay his company an annual service fee. That's the $600,000 a year. Based on that presentation and without any additional open discussion, you voted to advertise for bids for the replacement system, which brings us to the present and the likelihood that you may award the bid for the replacement system at any time now, but without having done any real due diligence. For example, have you compared the long-term financial impact of both options for the taxpayers in the water district? Have you asked town staff, the people who use the system, which options they prefer and why?
Okay.
So here's my second question. Will you postpone voting to award the bid for the replacement option until
Susan, your
you've done
time's up.
due diligence, real due diligence? And will you make the bid submissions available to the public and to the people who will pay the bill? Please be transparent. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Siegel. Next.
Next will be Rosemary Panio.
Okay. Ms. Panio, are you there?
Where are you?
Rosemary, are you there? Rosemary. Is Panio there?
You want to move over to someone and then we'll come back to Rosemary if she gets on?
I think we should, yeah.
Yeah, she's showing on, but I have no
I don't see her.
Yeah, she's right on the bottom here.
Yeah, I see the box, but there's no, I don't see anyone's face. I don't hear anyone speaking.
Okay.
Why don't we move on to another, and then maybe we can get her back on.
Mm.
Great. We have Mr. Gilbert.
Hey, Lanny.
Hi, everyone. How are you?
How we doing, Mr. Gilbert?
Doing okay, thank you. I hope everyone is doing well as also. Firstly, I'd like to also recognize the passing of two great veterans, General Colin Powell and Gilbert Kaufman. I had the great pleasure of meeting General Powell on Bronx Day about 15 years ago in the rotunda of the Bronx County Supreme Court when a street was named after him, named in his honor. And not everyone, I think, knows that the general was a product of Bronx County and of City College. And ROTC of City College. He did not go to West Point. So his elevation and his rise was not traditional, and but it was still incredibly significant to our nation. I'd also now like to personally send my, paid my respects to the family, but as Ed said, to Gilbert Kaufman. I had the great pleasure of calling him a friend over these years. And a memory of Gil brings to mind a funny story. While I was supervisor, Gil approached me and said, I had to help him because he was the only male on the senior advisory committee. And I came to his aid by appointing Irving Breitbart and Bill Gerstenzang shortly thereafter, and Gil thanked me profusely. So I just have fond memories of Gil and Anna. I'd like to use pretty much the rest of my time for courtesy floor talking about my being very impressed by the presentation at the work session regarding the creation of the sensory garden up at Granite Knolls. And I hope that the town can somehow figure out a way to move forward on that project. I say this on behalf of all the people that it will help. Seniors, veterans with PTSD, children on the spectrum, and all our residents looking for a place to meditate, to relax, for the benefit of their mental health. It's a unique, it would be unique to the area. It also fits well with the Destination Yorktown theme that our marketing team has put together. People will come and utilize it, invest time and money while in our town. And surely with the money that's going to be generated by Parks and Recreation through the solar project, this is one more jewel in the crown that we can have up there at Granite Knolls. And finally, we need to recognize the good it will do and the need we have for this project, remembering the time in history that we're facing as people searching for peace during the midst of this virus and other crazy times. So I think it's just would be a wonderful project. And finally and lastly, I'd like to wish Ed Mahoney all the best in his retirement. Ed, having served while I was supervisor and under so many other supervisors, including you, Matt. So that concludes my courtesy of the floor, and I thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Gilbert.
Did Rosemary get on?
I do not think that her box, no, I don't think she's on yet. Diana, do we have anybody else for courtesy of the floor?
Hold on one second. Yeah, let me see if I can figure it out. So I have Rosemary Panio on the phone, and I'm going to try to put her up to the speaker and see if she can come on that way, okay?
Okay.
All right, let's see how this works. Go ahead and speak. And
Diana, can you put her on speakerphone? That might be
yeah,
easier.
hold on 1 second. Let me see if I can do hands free. Okay, Rosemary, go ahead.
Okay, I want to talk about the tree ordinance that is being proposed about cutting down all the trees and replacing them with solar panels. I'm very concerned about that because, as you know, I spent a lot of years on the conservation board and a number of other boards, and we always worked very hard to preserve the bucolic aspect of our town and our environment. When we were first taking on these assignments many years ago, we're very concerned about clean air, clean water, and our wonderful trees. Many people have worked to preserve this great bucolic ambiance and the great vistas of our fall foliage.
Mhm.
We actually became a tree city.
Right.
Now we're talking about taking down acres of trees. You know, I have to remind people that we're not exactly known in Yorktown for our great architecture, but we are known for our beautiful vistas and our wonderful open space and our trees. Really, people move here for two reasons, I think, because of the beauty of our town,
Mhm.
the natural beauty, and probably because of our school.
Mhm.
So I hope we're going to work to preserve this heritage. I would be interested in hearing comments from the Conservation Board, from the Tree Advisory Board. I know my own family, who comes from a very Baroque city of Turin, Italy. Whenever they come here to visit, they remark on how wonderful it is that we have this beautiful vista of wonderful trees and that we observe this. I don't know what we would do if we didn't have that here in this town. What are we going to be proud of? I'm just very concerned about that.
Thank you, Rosemary.
Thanks, Rosemary.
We appreciate your comments.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Diana.
You're welcome. I'm going to hang on.
All right.
And we have Sergio Esposito.
Okay,
Hey,
Mr.
Sergio.
Oh, we just lost him. Where'd he go? Good evening, Sergio.
I couldn't find my remote.
How are you, Sergio?
Hey, Sergio.
It's been a long day. I'm just getting home from work, and
That's funny.
it's just been a long day. So how you guys doing? Everybody good?
We're good.
Good, we're good. Thanks.
Just wanted to key everybody in. I know it was probably said. I haven't been able to watch much of the meeting because I'm just getting home. But just a few community events, and I'll get out of your hair. I love Halloween, by the way. Yep, I got my. I'm going as Popeye this year. So I got
Popeye.
I got everything. I'm
Kids
ready.
don't know Popeye.
What's that?
Young kids don't know Popeye. That's
Yeah,
so cool.
Popeye's still cool. So anyway, some community events. We have the Boo and Brew on the 29th at the mall. I mean, Halloween's almost one of my favorite holidays. So it's always a lot of fun. So we have the Boo and Brew at the mall between 5 and 9. It's a great family event. There's going to be people outside. But in tandem with that, on the same day, on the 29th, between 5 and 7, the Chamber, of course, is hosting a trunk or treat at the mall.
Yeah.
So that's always a pretty large event. Last year it was a lot of fun, a lot of candy. The dentists all called and joined the chamber almost immediately after on the 30th. Anyway, and then we have a grand opening, which I'd like to invite everybody at. It's on October 3rd. It's Remax. It's 2013 Crown Pond Road. That's where the old Cablevision used to be. They're going to have a bouncy castle there. They're having their own trunk or treat. Their business has been booming. I'm particularly happy about it. We filled a vacant space, an existing vacant space. So it's a pretty exciting thing, and it's a pretty decent size
That's November 3rd.
Place.
October 30th.
It's October
30th.
30th, 12 to 4. Please be there. That'd be great. And then lastly, which I think is a really great thing, we are capitalizing on last year. The Chamber of Commerce and the town of Yorktown is partnering up again for Fall Farm Weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing better than celebrating our open spaces and having a bunch of family fun events. And the events are so numerous. You know, we have the 8 farms here in Yorktown. You probably have seen already a lot of the traffic that has been, there's an uptick in traffic, especially at the exit points from the Taconic. Those are people bringing in the agritourism that we keep talking about. But it's going to be a great weekend. It's the 30th and the 31st. And, you know, there's going to be a whole bunch of events. Check out the chamber. I know the town put it up already. Call us at 914-245-4599. But it's going to be a great bunch of events for the family and for Yorktown. And I hope I hope to see everybody there. Thank you.
Thank you, Sergio.
Thank you, Sergio.
Sergio.
Next.
That's all I have, but I do have Kathy Quinn on.
Hey, Kathy, how are you?
I'm good, Matt. How are you? How is everyone?
We're doing great. It's always great to see you. I want to first congratulate you on your recent walk up at FDR Park. It was a lot of fun. I know you had a nice crowd up there, and I think that was your 25th supporter walk. Is that correct?
Actually, was our 27th walk, 27. But we celebrated 25 years as an organization. So a lot of numbers to remember. Thank you for coming. It was a great day. We had about 500 people in the park, which is far fewer than our normal thousands, but thousands of people walked throughout the country on our behalf, and it was a wonderful day. Thank you always for your support.
I know that you've joined us plenty of times, but real quick, for someone new watching the town board meeting because they love seeing Councilman Diana on the TV, what do you tell them about Support Connection?
Support Connection is a place where people who are dealing with breast or ovarian cancer can turn to and speak to a person, a counselor, professional, peer counselor who's had cancer and understands what they're going through. We have one-on-one support groups, wellness programs, educational programs. Everything is free and confidential. Just dial 914-962-6402 or go to supportconnection.org for all the details.
Well, that's great, Kathy.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Councilwoman Roker.
Yes.
Kathy, for people like me who weren't able to come, where do I send a donation to you?
Oh, thank you very much. You could either go online to supportconnection.org and there's a donate button right there, or a donation could be mailed to our office, a check made out to Support Connection, 40 Triangle Center, Suite 100, Yorktown Heights, New York, 10598. Thank you. Thank you very much, Allison. Thank you for being one of our first cheerleaders back in 1996 when we opened our doors, and even before. Thank you.
Thank you for all the work you do, Kathy.
I appreciate it, Ed, very much. And thank you for sending us the talented young lady, Kayla, who did she was amazing. The people who were going to be there couldn't, and she came at the last minute and did a phenomenal job. And thank you, Ed, for making that connection.
Not a problem at all. It's great to be able to recognize the talented youth in our community.
Mm-hmm.
We spoke earlier about the Yorktown Stage. Kayla is a member of the Yorktown Stage Kids. It's hard to believe if you close your eyes and hear the voice that she's only 13 years old.
I know, I couldn't believe it.
Very talented, very talented.
But she actually the next week she opened up the Chamber Street Fair with the national anthem. So we had a 13-year-old singing the national anthem and a 100-year-old gentleman, Lenny Tosta, cutting the ribbon.
That's a blessing.
Sergio invited him to come and cut the ribbon, and it was an amazing day for both of them. They were both so honored and thrilled and had such a great time.
Beautiful. Well, thank you again.
Thank you. The least we could do to help.
Thanks.
Kathy, thank you for all you do in the town. We did pass a proclamation declaring October Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we'll be sure to get you a copy so that you can have in your office. And we recognize you and your staff and all the great effort you make here in the town of Yorktown. And we're so proud that you continue to call Yorktown home for your organization.
Absolutely. We wouldn't be where we are, and we wouldn't have helped as many people without the town and the leadership in the town being so supportive. And I want to also thank all the businesses and who have supported us through the years. And we're very proud to call Yorktown home. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.
What I
Thank
find
you,
so
Kathy.
phenomenal about Kathy is I remember going to that very first walk where that gentleman who began Support Connection for his wife.
Yes.
What was his name? I forgot.
Richard Adamski.
Yes. And it was a walk. It wasn't as large as it is today. And you've grown from this little baby organization to you're nationwide now.
Yeah.
People know you across the country.
I know. You know what? It just all is about having the passion to do what you want, know what you need to do, getting all the right people together, and having the people who continually believe in us and support our efforts. And I just want to also point out, among the businesses, the lead there is the Yorktown Chamber of Commerce has been behind us, and all the members there. And it's just wonderful. It really is amazing what people could accomplish when you have a goal. And, the whole focus is on the mission. And that's what's really beautiful about. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, Kathy. Stay well. We appreciate
All
it.
right, you too. Take care. Good night, everyone.
Thanks, Kathy.
Bye-bye.
Anybody else, Diana, for courtesy of the floor?
Yes.
I do not have anyone else. No.
Can we, Councilman Patel, let's just close courtesy of the floor so we can go to comments. So we have a motion to close.
Motion.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried. Councilman Patel.
One thing I wanted to say, that Sonia Gittner, she was recently passed away, and her husband, was before. And I think that both wife and husband, they have contributed a lot to our community. So we extend our condolences to the family member, those who are survived. It was really unbelievable couple that they have done so many things for the teen center and volunteering at the Hudson Valley Hospital like that, and it was just really nice. And Stan, everything happened on my street last maybe 30 years ago. I have all the pictures, he sent it to me, some of them. We used to plant the flowers and everything else, black and white picture. I have it. Wonderful, wonderful couple. May they rest in peace, both of them together.
I forgot his name.
Stanley.
How could I forget? We'd always go, do you have film in the camera?
Stan the man.
Yeah.
Any comments from the town board on anything regarding courtesy of the floor tonight?
Yeah, the agreement with the environmental consultant, Susan, that you should find, it's not separate for each project we ask them to review. The review mechanism is part of the initial agreement we signed with them. So I don't think that is something you can't have. I think it's something you probably can have.
I don't know if our town attorney or our town clerk want to comment on any of the comments that were made from Ms. Siegel regarding the FOIL process.
Since it went to denial, and obviously there's an appeal in process, I'm going to leave that to the town attorney.
Okay.
But I think a request for the environmental consultant should have been worded differently. I think there is a contract for the environmental consultant, but there will not be one for every project that he looks at. It's when we hired them on. That's what I'm trying to say. Do you understand that?
That's correct. There's an underlying contract, and then each individual scope of work, is decided by the town board.
Exactly.
So my understanding is that essentially the FOIL was asking for one thing
Yes,
that
I agree.
that didn't exist.
Agree.
In terms of the other FOIL, the appeal decision speaks for itself.
Yeah. Thank you, Adam. I appreciate that. Any other comments from the town board?
I just want to make the comment. And just through the beginning of this whole meeting, through the comments, there's been a lot of talk about the great organizations, the great work, the leadership, and people moving things forward. And Matt, I wanted to not that I do it often enough, but I want to give you a shout out because we spoke about things today, and like fall weekend is one. It's great. We get a kernel of an idea, and it sort of peters out along the way, and it's like, oh, this is great, but it's like good intentions. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. But you're someone who is, I guess, for lack of a better word, a pit bull with something. You get it in your jaws, you don't let go, and you really chew it up. And for what's there, and granted, you have a great board working for you right now.
Remember, there's no doubt about it.
Right. So we back and we work together as a team, but a lot of credit. There have been ideas that have been kicking around town for a decade or more that you've been able to really bring to fruition, which is really the mark of leadership. And thank you for that. I think it's a great thing for us.
I appreciate that, Councilman. But to your point earlier, you said, and Councilwoman Roker and I have said this a lot, I think that people can take a good lesson from this town board. I've said it before, and I'll continue to say it. We've worked very cooperatively, respectfully, and we've shown, and I think we've defined bipartisanship. And I think that some of our colleagues in other governments in places like DC and in Albany can take a very good lesson from just watching how we operate here. And I mean that sincerely, and I compliment all of you as well. But I also compliment the staff. I think our staff is tremendous.
Yeah.
I think our staff from the top down are incredibly dedicated public servants, and they deserve the lion's share of the credit. And I know that I push them. I think we all push them sometimes.
Yeah, we do.
and for good reason. But at the end of the day, I sleep easy at night because I know that we are all working for the best interests of this community, every single person of this community.
Oh, Matthew, I got a phone call from you one night at midnight.
I call them naps. I don't sleep. I call them. But I do want to say though, and I appreciate the kind words, but some of the things I said that were said in courtesy of the floor, I think were just gross accusations and assumptions. I really do. The water meter project is incredibly important and incredibly complicated, beyond complicated. And I know that because our finance department's been dealing with it and the water department's been dealing with it. And I'm sorry if members of the public don't sit in those meetings, but I assure you, we are doing our full due diligence every step of the way. And when it's ready for us to proceed in a public matter, we're going to. But we have to make sure that our staff understand what the implications are. And again, it's very complicated. This is not an easy thing. We've also worked with Joint Waterworks, which is another body that is very vested in what decision the town makes. And quite frankly, I've even gone to the other participating communities of the Joint Waterworks on the water meter project to see if we can get buy-in from them so we can do this collectively. Because right now, for those who don't know, and I'll get to you in 2 seconds, Councilman, the Joint Waterworks does the billing for 4 municipalities. And I know Mr. Gilbert knows this well because he served on the board. 4 municipalities. All 4 municipalities have 4 different water meters and 4 different billing systems. It makes no sense. And I've been very public in my disappointment in this. And I thought that this would be a prime opportunity for the Joint Waterworks, which is again supposed to be a shared service collaboration between 4 municipalities, to come together to provide 1 meter with 1 billing service and it just makes a heck of a lot of sense. Those conversations are still ongoing. And I'm sorry if certain members of the public who continue to make gross accusations and assumptions publicly about this board aren't part of those conversations, but they are public meetings that I'm sure you can attend.
You know, particularly with the amount of money we pay for billing, which is nearly $1 million.
Yep, exactly. And so it just makes a lot of sense. You're talking about streamlining, you're talking about making it easier. You're talking about making it easier on the staff. Again, think about it. Every quarter or every billing cycle, it should be every month in my mind, but every billing cycle, the staff at the Joint Waterworks has to go through 4 different billing systems for 4 different municipalities, because the municipalities in the past haven't been able to get on the same page with these things. So all these conversations are being had. The necessary studies are being done. I think that the board recognized from the outset the need to move this project forward, and it has nothing to do with anyone involved in any one company. But I can tell you that if you look outside of our little bubble here, these companies are national companies, every single one of them, every single one. And so there's a lot of information that we need to go gather, a lot of reference checks that we've done. And we're doing our due diligence to make sure that whatever we decide, and again, it will be a public discussion without a doubt, is done for the benefit of the community and the benefit of the water district. Councilman Patel.
I respectfully disagree many of these things. Let me just say that one. First of all, I would like to see the census come in here in open discussion for the entire town. You know, why do you want to throw away that many meter?
Whoa, excuse me, sir. No. Excuse me. Don't put words in my mouth. Excuse me, sir. Do not put words in my mouth, because I never said I wanted to throw away.
That's why I'm
I never said that.
Or tell the people.
I never said that.
No.
So please don't put words in my mouth. And I know others who are on this meeting who continue to make gross accusations and gross assumptions have done the same. I have never said that we should throw away those meters. I said that we should do our due diligence and look at every option on the table.
Yeah.
So let's be very clear about that, because I'm tired of people putting words in my mouth. Now you can continue, Councilman Patel.
You know, let me tell you, this mess is initially, you know, when I got elected, I put the idea and everybody just embraced it right away. And then 2 years, you know, in the beginning, you know, just like you buy a car or build a house, there will be leak in a roof somewhere, something like that. So tiny little meter has a plastic something, rubber gasket has a problem. Oh, you know, good. You know, within the 2 years, there are $4 million disappear from the water department budget.
Right.
We could have saved $500,000 a year by installing that meter by now, and it would have been paid back by now. We cannot give them somebody else credit card, and then I don't know how much they're going to increase it and all that. Let's have it really, you know, very detailed understanding from the people and tell them, and then go wherever you want to go.
And Councilman Patel, I agree with you on what you just said, that this was a blunder without a doubt. And it has cost this town significant dollars, and it's cost the ratepayer significant dollars. I had a gentleman in my office this week who hasn't had his water meter changed in more than 20 years. The life expectancy of water meters is 20 years. So we don't even know if his water meter is working properly. That's just one example of why this project is so important for us to get done. But let's make sure we're taking the right approach, and let's make sure we're making the best decision. And I don't think it's unfair for us to explore every option that is out there. And that's all we've done. And I have never said that we were going to just completely overhaul the system. I've never said that, but I don't think it's unfair for us. I don't think it's irresponsible of us to look at all the different options on the table.
You know, I totally agree. I don't think you focus in saying, okay, this is what we got now. So, and think about it. What we're going to get, whatever we're going to do, will have to last for at least another 20 years.
Well, that's the thing, though. If you only do half, if you only do half, this is where excuse me, Councilman Patel.
I have a reservation on this project.
We didn't do anything.
We didn't do anything. But to Councilwoman Roker's point, if you only do half, and this is what our finance department's been analyzing. If you only do half, you put us on a 10-year cycle. So every 10 years, you're going to be cycling out half of those stock of water meters, because again, they only have a 20-year lifespan. So what is the payback on that? How do we finance that? And it's not just the immediate, because there's 5,000 meters that we have to replace, roughly. But then what does it look like in 10 years? So listen, if we want to do what everyone else has done and just say, well, 10 years, we're not going to be here. Okay, yeah, we can do that. But I think that's irresponsible. I think we have to try to take a holistic look at it, try to actually forecast what the cost may be and how do we actually pay for that. Mm-hmm. We could easily come up with a short-term solution, but I don't want us to come up with a short-term solution that then gives a board a long-term problem, just like we've been dealing with here. So again, I can assure you, the water department, the finance department are all involved in doing their due diligence, as is the Joint Waterworks. I had a meeting with the Joint Waterworks last week just about this one issue.
Well, it certainly makes a lot of sense that we all have to, if everyone's looking to replace their meters, it certainly makes a whole lot of sense that we all get on a page.
Right.
I want the census to come and discuss with the entire town, okay, very openly, and bring it in the other guy and compare it, you know?
Sure.
Computer can figure out in a matter of minutes, which is the better way to do, okay? This is the old technology. Ask the guy who is the expert on the technology and forget about everything else. $5 million disappear. There is no fund balance left.
No one's
what
disagreeing
bothers me,
with that.
You know?
No, Councilman Patel, no one's disagreeing with you on that point.
Thank you.
Okay, so I just think that it's important that we're with you on that. Any other comments on courtesy of the floor?
I think we need to assure Rosemary Panio that we have a tree law that is good and nobody's going to ditch that tree law.
That's a good point.
And is John on the call with us on the
John
phone?
Taggart?
Yeah.
John, I see his box. John, are you there? And there he is.
John, this is a question I asked the last time. And I only know this because I happened to talk to Rosemary today. And she told me she was going to talk. Rosemary's concerned that since we're doing solar projects, that we are going to begin to not adhere to the tree law. And I assured her that's not true. Am I wrong or am I right?
You're excuse me. You're absolutely right. The tree law is a law that's in effect and has to be followed. We don't get the whimsy to follow certain laws at certain times and don't follow them at other times. We have to follow them. And the tree law is one of them, as is the wetland law, just to name two of them. So the answer to that is we need to follow the tree law on whatever development is being proposed on any property, whether it be a solar project, a housing project, or a commercial project.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, John.
I agree with you. I agree with you, Councilwoman Roker. It's important. And for whatever reason, again, there's this misunderstanding out there. And the way that the law is written, and John again can chime in, that all the environmental laws and all the environmental codes are all applying and are all or like the baseline for the solar approvals. So I think that's important for people to understand. I know Councilman Diana and I have had several conversations about this. Councilman Diana wants to strengthen the solar law and make it clearer, which I think it's always helpful. It's always good. Mm-hmm. And we're going to work on that together. But I think it's important that people understand that the environmental protection laws of the town of Yorktown and the state of New York must be followed for any solar application before it receives any approval.
John and I had a discussion. I'm sorry, Matt.
No, please.
John Taggart and I had a discussion last week about this. We're going to be following up to do just what the supervisor said. But quite often, less trees will come down in this type of an application than if you were doing a subdivision or a subdivision or a project. It may even be less trees are going to come down. So if we brought a 150 unit condo project in, for argument's sake, it's a good possibility that more trees would be cut down. And in in retrospect, I actually hadn't thought of that. It's actually going to add more trees rather than deplete our forestry banks, so to speak.
Right.
And Councilman Diana, the overall environmental benefit, obviously, of having solar panels versus a subdivision or residential development is far greater when you compare the two.
May I make a comment here? The solar energy will last 5 billion. Solar energy coming from the sun will last more than 5 billion years, okay?
Wow.
Really, really good news. But, we cannot live on one kind of food, everybody, and
Right.
same thing, we can have more than many different kind, either nuclear or fossil fuel, everything will be needed for a long, long time to come.
Agreed.
So to keep just the idea that the solar will take care of everything, but there is another problem is increasing the populations and the demand on the water and the land use and all that. Food production will be another big problem, So if you are not very careful and just try to balance alone, that will be another problem in food shortages, because people would like to, maybe get the cash more by producing energy now in the beginning, and then a new technology will come. You never know. Maybe you can just directly do something else. So these are the things that are already known in the literature and scientific literature, So we have to balance it, that what will be the need of the food versus the energy, how we can balance all these things. And these are the issues will come up in the future for us to deal with, really. I mean, it's not as simple that it's a good thing. I am for the solars because solar cell initially invented right here, second generation, right here in Yorktown, and I am for the energy, absolutely no doubt about that one, but we should think it like that. Because
I think what you just said was so important.
Crop, co-crop along with the solar, and if they will not be high like that, maybe all this area will come up. So let's be wise, and have the wisdom come across, and we all be benefits from the solar energy.
Well said, Bishop. Well said, Councilman Patel. Thank you. I agree with that.
Yeah.
All right. So if there's no other comments, we can move over to our next portion of the meeting. We have public hearings. We have a decision first. This is to adopt a local law amending Chapter 300 of the Code of the Town of Yorktown entitled Zoning. This actually has to do with the solar law. This changes the threshold from 20 kilowatts to 25 kilowatts, as again is recommended by NYSERDA. We've already had the public hearing on this. That was closed previously, so this is simply a decision by the town board. So we will make a motion to adopt the local law amending Chapter 300 of the Code of the Town of Yorktown entitled Zoning, Section 300-81.4C.
Motion.
We have a second? We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. We also now have a decision on the Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plan permit and wetland permits submitted by Con Edison in order to do gas main upgrades and replacements. We had the public hearing closed 2 weeks ago. So again, we'll make a motion.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Matt, will you explain that this is not what this is not and what this is?
The next one?
Yeah.
Sure.
In terms of the fact that this is an application by Con Ed to bury cable. It has nothing to do with the application from a Con Ed affiliate to do a farm.
Yeah, so we'll get there in 2 seconds. So we're going to reconvene the public hearing to consider a stormwater pollution prevention plan permit and wetland permit submitted by Con Edison to bury 465 feet of electric cable and to add a pad mounted utility box within the wetland buffer on the eastern side of Foothill Street. Again, we had discussion on this 2 weeks ago. So this is reconvening that public hearing. We are once again joined by Luigi from Con Edison, and look who just walked in here. We've got Dan Ciarcia, our town engineer.
I was about to ask, where is Dan?
He is right here.
Can't get on.
Well, why don't you sit right there? Sit right there.
Okay.
Sit right there. And so, okay, so I'm gonna try to tip it here. Live TV, right, Alice? Live
Yeah,
TV.
there you go.
Okay. So I think it's very important, Dan. I want to say, well, let's start with this. So following our initial public hearing, there were several issues that were raised by some staff. Our highway superintendent, David Paganelli, is with us as well. Councilman Diana, Mr. Ciarcia, Mr. Paganelli, all visited the site with Con Ed. Dan, do you want to detail for us or Councilman Diana, whoever you want to detail for us the conversations that were had and the issues that were raised and the results of that meeting, please?
Well, we had an opportunity to
get closer. It's okay. We've got masks.
We had an opportunity to walk the site and walk along the route and see what kind of interference was there. We saw that where the transformer pads and the other structures that Con Ed required were really not going to interfere with traffic. The one thing that I did learn that I guess I was concerned about some of the other utilities, but I should point out the pole line is going to remain.
Right.
That Verizon, Cablevision, and whatever else is on there, as well as Con Ed has their own sort of, I guess I would call it like a transmission line that doesn't serve the local neighborhood. The other thing that I did, because, sort of another issue aside from the physical constraints on our right of way, the issue came up last time about seeker segmentation.
Right.
So what I had done is I looked at their distribution system there. They actually have a GIS application, I believe, and kind of could jump in, but I believe it's sort of tailored for solar power developers so they can see where they can develop solar facilities without requiring upgrades to the system.
Okay.
When you look at this area, which basically is sort of the end of their franchise, you're just about in the Putnam Valley, you see that their GIS app says that there's no host capacity for whether it be solar or any other technology to provide power to the grid. So, and it's a single phase system. So in other words, what they have there now could not accommodate the Lockwood solar farm.
Okay.
What they're building is an equivalent system. So the argument that we're doing some kind of smoke and mirrors segmentation with respect to seeker isn't really valid because the system that's there and the system that they're building will not dovetail with the Lockwood project.
Right.
Right. So the Lockwood project, if it had to do distribution upgrades, would really be part of the seeker review for that project.
Okay.
I just want to make that clear. That seemed like a bit of a discussion we were having last time. So I just wanted to drill into that a little bit and tell you where I ended up on it.
Thank you.
So, I mean, that was, this is an issue to provide more resiliency in the system. And I guess we should be happy they selected us for this pilot study. And, I'll defer to Dave Paganelli and Tom if they have any other issues. But from my perspective, just some erosion control and just the other sort of standard stuff we would ask for on anybody's wetland permit, some erosion control to prevent sediment from getting into the wetlands.
Okay.
So that's where I am on this one. Thank you.
The only thing I saw there was that there's actually going to be 3 transformers total, if I'm not mistaken. Luigi, you can correct me on that if I'm mistaken. Not just the one as we had first anticipated. But Other than that, it looks like a pretty good spot to have it. And we may have to do some Dave and I had talked about this briefly, some traffic disruption plan. But I think all in all, it's a good project for the area. And Dan, is that top line that's going to remain on the pole, I believe, is a transmission line, correct? That's the one that's remaining?
So that does not serve that neighborhood.
Right. That's just
through.
It's just a run through, so to speak, to do whatever it does. But that's the only really electric that's going to stay on that pole. And it's a shame we couldn't get everything underground at that point in time, because, at some point in time, they're all going to want to go underground. But
right,
that doesn't afford itself this time. So we'll take what we can get.
And I know that one of the other things that were raised was they moved, I think it was water they moved to the other side of the street, and there was an issue with the water department. Kenny Rundle was with you guys.
Yes.
Out of the site visit. Can you speak to that, please?
The water actually would be running on the east side of Foothill Street. So what they did is they moved that whole segment to the west side of Foothill Street, so they wouldn't disrupt any of the water mains that are there. You do have some crossovers where they're going to have to go around the laterals in front of the house and so forth. Houses, I should say. But those are not that many they're going to have to get around. And I'm sure Dave will want to speak on a couple of the drainage issues that he may have there. But they said that the depth of those particular digs are going to be 24 inches total. Most of the water is about 48 inches, 42 to 48. And generally your electric line, you like to keep lower than 18 inches, and then it's buried in sand, et cetera.
Right.
So, hopefully they'll miss a lot of our drainage also, but that's Dave's bailiwick.
Dave, anything you want to add, please?
Nope. We did have a good meeting out there. I think that Kenny walked it. He was very pleased with respect to the water, other than the few areas where there are crossover service lines. As far as we're concerned, our drainage out there, we'll work closely with them as they traverse our drainage issues. We have a few crossovers out there. We've made our arrangements with respect to restoration. The road will be restored curb to curb, 2-inch mill and fill. So we're very happy with that. And there was an additional paving that may be involved, and we're negotiating on that at this point. So that being said, highways satisfied. There were a couple, I had one issue with respect to the pads, and I'll discuss that offline with Con Edison.
Okay, so we have highway, 2 seconds, Councilman Patel. We have highway satisfied, we have engineering satisfied, we have water satisfied. Councilman Diana, was there anything else that we needed to check the box on to make sure this thing was all ready to go?
Not that I saw there. Like I say, we're going to try and do a minimal traffic disruption and or detour because it's the proper way the proper spot to possibly have a detour. But I think Dave and I kind of made those arrangements, right, Dave?
All right. So
I would say that's correct.
and with Mr. Ciarcia's help with Ms. Rodriguez, it sounds like the segmentation issue has been resolved as well. So I'm glad to see that we made a lot of progress in this since our original or initial public hearing.
Right.
Anything else you want to add before we go to? I'm sorry. Yes, Councilman Patel. I apologize.
I want Mr. John Tegeter to his comment.
Okay, Mr. Tegeter, any comments?
Yes.
No, I'm in support of Dan's findings. I anticipated that those would be his findings, along with Adam's, that there is no segmentation. I was pretty certain that the Foothill solar project, when it came in, first of all, it was not a Con Ed entity that was bringing in the application. And I was pretty certain that they had found the necessary infrastructure to hook into for their purposes way back about 2-3 years ago. So I'm I'm fine. I have no further comment on it.
Great.
I think the last one, probably Luigi, did we all talk not properly here, but did we cover all the points, or do you have anything else to add?
You did. You covered everything that you added. Very good description of our meetings, how they went. We look to work together with you guys and accommodate anything we can while we're out there. I don't have, like I said, you guys hit everything. I'm glad that the meetings were successful when we did meet out there. We answered all the questions. I do just have one question. I know that we're waiting now. We have a period of time we have to wait for the wetland permit, but does that mean we can't start any construction until we have that wetland permit issued to us?
Mr. Rodriguez? Dan?
Well, the permit is really for the activity inside the wetlands.
Right.
So I think there's an argument to be made that the activities that are not within the wetland or the wetland buffer would otherwise not require a permit.
Right, and we have the construction permit, the excavation permit from the highway department. So would that be adequate enough for us to get started outside of the wetland buffer is my question.
I think so.
Yeah,
Is there any objections? Do you have no objection from engineering? Any objection from highway?
No objection from highway.
Any objection from legal?
No objection.
Oh, no objection. I always get nervous when I bring them in. You know those lawyers. No offense to lawyers there, Mr. Gilbert. All right, very good. So Luigi, no objection from any of us on that aspect. So I think you can move forward there. I would like to open, if there's no other comments, I would like to open up for further public comment.
I would like to ask Luigi a question.
Sure. Yes, please.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you. I guess thank Con Ed for doing this project in Yorktown. What kind of results are you going to be looking for with regard to burying the stuff? Will it be looking at what happens when everybody else's lights go out in Yorktown as compared to the people who will be hooked into the stuff underground?
Yes, what we're looking for is increased resiliency of the system.
Okay.
And so anybody who's on the other side of that undergrounding will be, I guess, protected better from the outage.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think that, I appreciate that people in Yorktown will benefit from this.
Right. I agree. I think it's really a tremendous step forward for utilities. And we're thrilled that Yorktown is the chosen area for this. Yes, Councilman Patel.
Underground is a good thing, but in Evergreen Street around here, if a transformer burns out, we just don't go and pick it up and clean it up. It's very difficult to find where is the fault and what the trouble. And maybe just a computerized system could assist, in helping us out where the problem is and all that. Otherwise, undergrounds are not easy. It's very, very costly maintenance, if they have to do it, dig it up and do it again. And it just cannot be done 1, 2, 3 like that, So there are, benefits and costs and everything else involved in anything you do.
I agree with that. But you know what? I lived in New York City for much of my life, and I've never seen the kind of outages that we have here in New York City where everything is buried.
But they have a double parallel circuits everywhere you go, maybe triple, Same thing with everything else, water and all the gas and everything else. So, it's good to go this way. I'm not saying anything wrong about it,
No, I agree.
But, we want to make sure that we protect and we have experts. So we listen from them.
Sure.
Okay, so if we can open it up for public comment, I'm going to turn it over to our town clerk, Diana Quast.
I don't have anybody that's requested public comment, so unless somebody's on.
Mr. Gilbert.
Thank you. Yeah, I spoke the last time the matter was on, indicating that I was clearly in favor of the project. Glad that you were able to work out, and I was confident. Hearing what the issues were, I was confident you'd be able to. The only issue I thought might have been, I didn't look into the segmentation issue, so. But other than that, I thought you obviously with the good work of your town department heads, you'd be able to, including Dave and Kenny, you'd be able to figure something out. So I'm glad that this is happening. I think that I went to many meetings, and Matt, you would know because I'm sure you attend these too with NYSEG and Con Ed, and they talk about the reluctance of going underground because they say I believe they say it's somewhere around $1 million per mile to bury the wires.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting that benefit right off the bat. And secondly, I'm hoping that if it is successful, that we can move to other. We may not be able to get the whole town underground, but we can get certain areas, including the Croton, Croton Heights.
Right.
I know Sergio talked about that as well. I mentioned that because that was a big when I had the 3 storms one after the other. That was an area that took almost 3 weeks to get people finally back online. So I think it's a win-win. I'm very glad to see it happening, and I just wanted to stress that and stress that point. So thank you.
Thank
you, Mr. Gilbert. Appreciate that. Anyone else wish to speak? Luigi?
So Matt, if I can add, Lonnie said it's about $1 million a mile to bury the lines. Depending on the area, it's anywhere from $8 to $10 million a mile.
Wow.
It's an expensive endeavor.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank
without
you.
a doubt. Without a doubt. We understand that.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other comments? Anyone else want to make a comment on this application? No other comments? Then we'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Public hearing has been closed. And so just so we can put a fine point on this, with no objection from any of our department heads, I think the consensus is that they're allowed to work outside of the wetland and begin at least staging, and then any concerns there from the town board?
Not at all. Let
No.
them get going.
Yeah, and they only have another week, I believe,
Right.
for the hearing stuff. Yeah, and then Dave, maybe you and I can work with Luigi on that traffic diversion if we deem it appropriate.
We do have. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Dave.
Oh no, that's good. I'm good.
I did want to just say that we do. I'll hand this over to the clerk, but I was just handed a memo from our town engineer, which includes some of the suggested conditions to be enumerated in any final approval that's granted. So we'll make sure that gets over to the town clerk, and circulate to all the town board members so you can see this. But that was something that the town engineer just brought up. And with that, I think we can move on to our next topic.
Resolution.
That's right. Dan, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to all of our staff for going out there and getting this all hashed out for us.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys
Thank you.
and gals.
Okay, so resolutions. We're going to authorize the town comptroller to transfer $11,500 from D5110.425 to D5142.403 for the purchase of an M2000 for the highway department. We're also going to authorize the comptroller to process a budget transfer, moving $185,000 from paving to $185,000 for equipment. I know our highway superintendent's on. I just think it's worth just noting that the additional money in paving came from an additional allotment from state funds that we weren't anticipating or budgeting for. So
That is correct.
Despite the fact that we actually, thanks to our highway superintendent and the highway department, paved a record 16 miles, or is it 16
16 and a half. Don't sell
I
us
get that
short.
half mile in.
Don't sell them short.
Don't sell us short.
I just want the board and the public to rest assured that this, although it was 16 and a half miles, there was a surplus from what we had anticipated from the state.
Right.
So now we're able to take that money and invest it into some of the needed equipment. And that is going to be for the purchase of 2 Ford F-550s. Again, I think it's just also important to note, and Highway Superintendent Paganelli can state accurately, but because of the supply chain issues we're seeing, we're not expecting, once this is actually put in, for the trucks to show up until the end of the summer, Dave, next year?
Well, I think the right now on the larger trucks, we're looking at a year to 2 year. Sorry,
Or later.
Yeah, eventually it'll show up.
Yeah, the 550s, we should, God willing, we see them by the end of next summer, in time for next winter.
Okay.
But everything is really, really moving slowly, unfortunately. That's why I spent the whole day today working on salt, because I'm very concerned about the supply lines with salt. The trucking, that's why I just really, once I have the barns full, I'll sleep easy.
Sure.
But
We understand.
in the interim, but yes, so that's the purpose. And also, as you were mentioning on the water meters, it's interesting because we're sort of trying to stagger ourselves at Highway, because we have a whole bunch of 550s that are dying. These are to replace 2 that are dead already, and we've since auctioned them off a year and a half ago. So that being said, it makes sense for us to segment the purchasing so they don't all die at once. And your point to the half the water meters dying at once, that's a tough pill to swallow. So, we feel the same way about, segmenting our purchases.
Correct. Proper planning. Thank you. Appreciate that, Highway Superintendent.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, so we're going to move on. We also have a resolution. We'll take them all together. Authorize an amended scope and increase in fee for the traffic study by Sam Schwartz Engineering, BPC, for the Taco Bell restaurant in the Route 6 office development at Route 6 and Mohegan Avenue. That's from the planning department.
And the good part is that Taco Bell pays for this ultimately.
Oh, yeah. And John Tegeter is still on with us, I believe. But yes, the applicant pays for these specific items, not the town. Correct, John?
That's correct.
Thank you.
It's in the resolution there at the last sentence.
Yep.
We have a resolution to authorize the Transpo Group to conduct traffic analyses for the proposed Yorktown Heights and Lake Osceola overlay zoning districts. This will be paid for by the town, and this is as a part of the expanded environmental assessment that we're doing for the proposed overlay districts. So as we said, bringing in traffic consultants to make sure we make the right decisions. We're going to authorize the town clerk to advertise bids for the replacement of boilers in Town Hall, the Albert A. Cappellini Community and Cultural Center, and the Police Department. We're going to apply for the EFC grant and declare lead agency status and classify the action as a Type 2 action for the Niwea cleaning and cement mortar lining of water main project. This is what I was referencing earlier during my report. This is a state program that could provide up to 60% of the cost of the project for us to go reline start relining our water mains. So this is a critical project for the water department that we are diligently moving ahead with.
Matt, what was the cost? I forgot.
The total cost, I believe, is anywhere from 2.1 to 2.2, roughly.
Yeah.
I'm just saying roughly because I got a lot of numbers swirling in the head. So, but it's in that like 2.1, 2.2, 2.3 range. I think that's where we were. We're going to authorize the comptroller to refund the listed duplicate first half school tax payments. And that is the end. Oh, I'm sorry. We had one resolution coming out of close. This is a personnel matter. I'll read it. Be it resolved that Joseph F. Curo of Hopewell Junction, New York, is hereby appointed automotive mechanic, job class code 0481-02, effective November 1st, 2021, to be paid from Yorktown CSEA salary schedule A, group 12, step 2, which is $65,791 annually. Be it resolved that this is contingent upon successful completion of a drug test and reference.
That one separate for me and let Okay.
So we'll make a motion to accept the resolutions on the agenda.
So moved.
Motion. Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Very good. And then we have this one out of person that came out of closed session that I was reading. I'll continue reading to save us time. That be it resolved, contingent upon successful completion of a drug test and reference checks. Be it resolved that Joseph F. Curo will report to work at the Highway Department on November 1st, 2021, and this date will be used as the first date of appointment. And be it further resolved that this appointment is subject to a probationary period of not less than 12 nor more than 52 weeks commencing on the first date of appointment on November 1st, 2021. Is there any discussion that we'd like to have on this first?
I am not going to vote on that.
Okay. So you will be a nay?
I will be, no, I don't want to, no, I don't want to be a nay. I'm just not, what is it? I'm going to.
You're abstaining?
I'm going to abstain.
Okay.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
So we have 4 ayes and 1 abstention from Councilwoman Rover.
Vishnu, how do you vote?
Councilman Patel,
Yes,
how do you vote on the resolution for the highway?
yes, I say yes.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. With that,
Okay, can I ask some questions we already resolved it? Just a little simple explanation. The boiler is overdue a long time and we know that. Is there any kind of money or anything else we want to spend it to change the zone in a YCC, because, that will have an even bigger impact in saving on the energy,
Yeah.
So let's see if we can find some other money or something to saving energy, loss, our building, it's a very large building.
Councilman Diana?
Well, we do have one thing in play. We're trying to get gas brought to the town hall so that when we change these particular boilers in town hall, they'll be running more efficiently on gas, which will get the oil tank out of the ground, et cetera, et cetera. As a matter of fact, Margaret and I had spoken about that at one point, I don't know if it was last year or a couple of years ago. They're supposed to get in touch with me. I haven't heard from them yet. I'm probably going to have
I gave Luigi your number and he was supposed to get a liaison for the natural gas to contact you. So just be on, they have your phone number.
Okay.
I'm going to call Luigi because I get those potential spam that come across on the phone,
right?
And I don't answer them, so I don't know. It may be them.
I never knew I knew so many people in Idaho. It's incredible.
Oh yeah, and they're and the one that keeps trying to sell me a vehicle warranty policy in a 1986
I keep getting that.
GMC.
I keep getting
You're the only one getting that.
Am I? It's because I probably have the only 1986 GMC out there, But one thing, Matt, before we close, look, I don't want Lanny to feel that he was special when I was on the town board with him. But the refunds listed, could you read through them very carefully, everyone, so that we understand exactly what would.
Here, I'll hold it up. I'll hold it up. Okay, I'm not doing that. No, thank you.
That is so funny.
No, thank you.
I did that. I used to do that to Lanny once a month or so.
He did. He said, read them.
Thank you, Tommy.
That's too funny. All right, we do have one work session item that we wanted to bring forward. Yep. We have one stormwater management permit. This is for 2678 Gregory Street. I believe we have Elliot on. Elliot, are you there? Can you just unmute?
Yes, I'm here for this application.
Thank you for hanging in there with us. So if we could, this application, Diana, if you could just refresh everyone's memory on the process that this is taking, because it's taken this.
Yeah, this was here before, wasn't it? Didn't we have this before?
It was back in March.
Yes, I remember this. And he just went away.
And it went to conservation, and then it went to you appeared before the conservation board and the tree commission.
And the planning board.
Correctly.
And the planning board.
And the planning board.
And we submitted our subsequent answer to the comments that Mr. Quinn had done back in April.
Right.
and haven't heard anything about it since. So I'm not really sure what happened or what was going on, but we're back here to finish up.
Well, I think one of the things, and I want to see if Mr. CRC is still here. I think one of the things I heard though was it never came back to the board for final for a public hearing or final approval. I'm sorry, it doesn't need public hearing, but for final approval. But there was work done on the site. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's the owner, Mr. Farrell, told me today that he had permission to cut trees at some point, and that had been done. I wasn't part of that. What was going on?
There he is.
Oh, there's Mr. Farrell.
Gentlemen, ladies.
How are you, John?
Doing well. How you guys doing?
We're doing good. We're doing good. So can you just update us as to where you are in the process with your application?
So approximately 7 months ago at this point, 6-7 months ago, I've been dealing with, was his name Quinn? Is that correct?
Yes, Mike Quinn.
Mike Quinn had been reviewing the process of our application. We had got to the point where Elliot had submitted all the necessary answers to the questions for them, at which time Dan Ciarski had taken over. I had spoken to Mike Quinn. Mike Quinn indicated it was okay for me to clear the property for a blowdown of the property. And we'd cleared the property fully because the residents were complaining about the blowdowns, the slight unsightliness of the property. Fully cleared the property at that point. And since then, I've actually cleared all the stumps because I fully believe that the property is ready to be mitigated for construction of a home at this point. I had no idea that there was any more process to be taken with the town board. No one had referred us to the town board. So we're actually just trying to rectify and ratify where we need to be at this point, and happy to do so with any mitigation that we need to have.
So I got Dan. So Dan's here with me in the town boardroom. Just also for the town board to know. Dan, can you update us as to where this is supposed to be?
Well, I mean, I think there was probably a disjoint in the handoff with my predecessor. When I came on, what I saw initially that some trees had been cut and there was no permit issued. And then subsequent to that, I think the remainder of the property with the trees went down and stumps were removed. So the question became whether this was an enforcement action. So that sort of put the thing on hold until we figured out whether, that was going to happen. So I referred it, to my knowledge, there was never a formal violation issued.
Okay.
But it was never, we saw a landscaping plan, but I never saw anything that articulated that the tree removals and the landscaping plan was appropriate mitigation for what had taken place.
Okay. So where does that leave us today, though? So because they were under the impression that they had authorization to take the trees down. You were saying that you don't have nothing to back that up.
I never authorized that. Like it was a verbal authorization.
Okay.
He did never authorize that. That was from his predecessor. He's correct on that.
Okay, but so it was just a verbal. It wasn't a written, right?
No, it was not.
Okay. So where does that leave us today? So they have this to present to us.
Well, I guess are there reports from the Conservation Board and the Tree Committee? The landscaping plan that is in play has been reviewed by the Tree Committee, and something in writing says that that's suitable mitigation.
Diana, correct me if I'm wrong, but the current correspondence we have from the Tree Commission says that they did need a mitigation plan, correct?
Yes, I believe that's true.
Okay. And
Elliot Sonora, I believe, presented that mitigation plan. Is that correct, Elliot?
Yeah. We went to the Conservation Board on March 3rd, it looks like, and they did write a letter subsequent to that. I had it here earlier, but we had subsequently submitted this plan, landscape plan, as the mitigation.
You submitted this to both conservation and tree?
We had submitted it to the, as far as I know, to the appropriate, to the town. I'm not sure where it went once we submitted it.
Because the memo we have from Tree is that they haven't seen the tree mitigation plan. So,
I know we submitted it back in April 28th. Submitted to Dan Ciarcia in response to comments. I didn't submit it to anybody else.
okay. So, Dan, what do you recommend here?
Well, I mean, it sounds like a mitigation plan was prepared, but the Conservation Board and the Tree Committee never weighed in as to whether that plan was acceptable mitigation. So I think that's really key to advancing the application.
Let's just jump in slightly here. Elliot, wasn't the Conservation Board aware and review of this plan? Because we have notes on that.
Hold on. Let me look through my file here. Hold on, I'll be right back.
All right, while Elliot goes there to the town board, any thoughts or comments on this?
Well, I remember Mr. Senior saying he would submit something, but I don't see anything that I have from either Tree or Conservation.
Right. That's
I have nothing in my file either with regards to that. Just an initial one in the beginning is all our comments are from.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We looked at the minutes of the Conservation Board, but I don't have it in front of me.
Okay.
Well, we can't do anything unless they tell us that the plan is acceptable.
So can we refer it to can we refer the updated tree mitigation plan to Conservation and Tree? When is their next meeting? Conservation are they meeting Wednesday?
I believe they are.
Okay.
Tomorrow. Okay.
Right. So we may be able to refer this out to them for their eyes on it and to provide a comment. And then we may be able to come back on Tuesday to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a little bit of a time stamp with the home. We have a local police officer who's purchasing a home and looking forward to move his family in here. We have a home delivery on November 28th for this house. We've definitely already obtained all of our street opening permits, talked with Dave Paganelli about our driveway, dotted our I's, crossed our T's. I think this is just a formality between a transition between our engineers and our departments, and would look forward to moving forward on this. And if anything, we could ask that we prepare anything necessary, we can do so.
No, we appreciate that, John. Thanks. I think that we can refer this out immediately to Conservation and to Tree. So this is the updated tree mitigation plan. Is that what we're seeing here on our screens?
Yes.
Okay. You want to just walk us through quickly so this way we know what you're proposing?
Yeah. So we're proposing some screening along Granite Springs Road here, consisting of several different types of trees. We have some saucer magnolias. We have some hoop spruces on the end here. We have some the hoop spruce on both ends. They're here and here. We have some Norway spruces in here. American hollies, and then back here between us, this is a driveway, the neighbor's driveway with a neighbor's garage here. And so up to that area, we have some American hollies, some hoop spruces here, and some Norway spruces mixed in. And then and as far as this corner is concerned, as the cars would come down Granite Springs turning in, we also tried to shield their headlights in this area with the Norway spruces here. I think some of these trees are not taken down in the storms. They're taken down. We didn't propose anything at that area. Most of these were locust trees, tulip trees, not very good trees. But as far as Mr. Farrell told me, that neighbors were happy with the removal of those trees. We didn't show any proposed there. We can show some additional screening there by the Tuesday meeting if need be.
Is Elliot there? Because I think I recall the conservation board telling you exactly what they wanted to see. Am I correct, Elliot?
I don't remember, but I think this is what, since we did this right after, we prepared this plan right after that meeting, within the month of that meeting, this is probably what they wanted us to do, I'm sure.
Okay, because I remember they were specific in terms of what they wanted to see. Okay.
Yeah, the meeting was on March 3rd, and this was prepared and submitted on April 10th. So my memory, I'm getting old, I guess.
You all are.
Well, I don't know. I get it. All right. So, are there any questions, Dan? Do you have any comments on this?
Well, I mean, normally, like we'll see like in these mitigation plans, a tabulation of the trees that were there, the caliper, and some sort of analysis of what the total, DBH of trees removed versus.
Do you have that?
What's being.
Well, so this plan, this other sheet showed what trees were there and what trees were going to remain and removed.
Okay. So how many?
Like I said, this was.
How many in total?
Let's see. Probably show it on here. Here's the tree plan without the zoning. Well, I guess 28. It looks like about 28 trees were being removed. And as far as being planted, we had 6, 8, 20, 28, 30, 41. I don't know. So about over 40 trees being added.
So 28
the various plants. Not all. Yeah, but so we go back to our original. Here's the tabulation of our proposed trees. I think I added it up quickly to be around 40 trees.
Okay.
Wants to see, some sort of tabulation of what was there and
right.
What they're proposing.
8, 20, 33, 36, 37, and about 45 different plants going in so far.
But you don't have a full tabulation of the number of trees that were removed.
Not since this plan was prepared. No.
Okay. So I think you said 28, right? But
right. I think there were some additional trees removed along this property line here.
So okay.
So just hearing from our town engineer here, though, but I think it's important when you go submit to the tree commission that you have that tabulated, how many trees were taken and what their DBH was.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's part of their assessment. So if you can just include that, it just
okay.
It'll help.
Yes.
Anything else, Dan, that you see here? No. So I think with that addition of the tree count and the tabulation and the DBH, then I think it's ready to go to the tree commission, so we can refer it out back to the conservation board and the tree commission, and we'll try to get their comments back in time for next week.
Yeah, and we'll look at the prior engineer's comments, and we'll leave it at that. I won't interject any new comments. If those have been satisfied, I'll be satisfied.
Okay.
Very good. I appreciate everything. We also have effectively the lot across the street in play as well. I know there's a few, as we've gone through the changing of engineers, a few comments, questions, concerns. If you guys can let me know any concerns that deal with that lot as well, I'd happy to address them at this time, or so on and so forth. But I'm at the same standstill at this point where, we've given to engineering. Dan, I know we're so appreciative of you being in our town now. And after Michael Quinn's leaving, but we just want to know where we're going to go with this project at this point, And if you could look into that in this moment or tomorrow, that'd be great.
Yeah. So let's get this one done first. And then I'm sure Dan will jump on the one across the street.
We appreciate it more than we know.
We'll make sure that we get the all fully re-engaged and properly referred out to just depending on where it is in the process. If it needs to be referred to anybody, we will. But let's get this 2678 one done. And we do offer our apologies for the administrative mix up here. But I think that we've got you back on the right path to get this thing squared away.
No, none necessary. Looking forward to working with you guys.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
No problem. Any other comments from the town board?
Is there any change in the plan, what was submitted before?
No changes other than just answering the engineering comments. But no site planning changes.
None.
Great. Anything from you, Dan? No? Okay. So we're good over here. You guys, anything else you need from us, John or Elliot?
Elliot,
No, I think we know what we're doing.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a nice
Thank
night.
you. Thanks for hanging in there with us.
Oh, and just so you know, I also get the warranty for my car that has 210,000 miles on it. You know?
Get those calls too.
You know, they were going to charge me $6,000 for a
Okay.
warranty. You know?
And you just give me a motion and second on that.
A motion on which, Diana?
And then refer out.
So we'll make a motion to refer out to the Conservation Board and Tree Commission.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Diana.
Thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it. All right. With that, if there's no other business before the board, we will make a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
All in favor?
Good night, everyone.
Aye. Good night,
Good night,
everyone.
all.
Thank you, Yorktown.
Night.